So yeah, the Dust2 feels like the safest so far, and also could be the great way to sort of leverage that extra power that Hades seems to have brought into the roster, because he has been doing a bang up job, and he's putting himself in the shop window when they're, Heroic have been trying to fill the gap of the AWPer in this team for a little amount of time. They tried Grix for a couple of officials, then they brought in Alcarin, who can be a bit hot or cold. If they can get this kind of output from Hades, maybe they look to snatch him up from that X-Inner Circle roster.
Would be good to see. Hades has always been sort of this level up player, this footstool for a team to climb up to a higher place, and maybe he can look to do the same over here for Heroic. The question though is, can they level up with him into the semifinals as a minimum guarantee? The arena stage has been secured for both of these teams.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to go beyond that with all the pressure on them, all the lights on them. This is a difficult set of players to actually succeed on a stage like that. You want to make it a top 4, and right now with this push forward from Nilo not finding a kill might end up being critical. Jambu and blameF for waiting for this, but they might not expect how many players are coming over. They realize it's 4. Now it's time to take control over in the A site, and with Youngster the only defender, he can get 1, but it's not enough. A full 2v4 now between Nilo and Hades to try and clutch it out.
Yeah, looking exceedingly unlikely. They went for a 4-1 setup from the jump in this pistol, being aggressive down towards bottom B. They were expecting far more production. Hades has found a very unique timing. So he will get a free kill into Fear. He's expecting blameF inside of Library, but it's not to be. And so Nilo just simply saving his dualies. This is a simple enough call here for Fnatic. They went for a contact rush into that A bomb site, and once they were met with aggression down B, it only prompted them to accelerate faster. The open and shut case. And yeah, just to touch on the Jacasmo move, I think there's a lot of people that are, I think, rightly disappointed that Cypher isn't playing with the team. I don't think you're wrong. A lot of people feel like Cypher's been kind of unlucky or been in bad situations. The TSM move after the Into the Breach surprise major berth at Paris.
Yeah, the bleed debacle.
They didn't bring in the coach that was supposedly going to organize that whole team, and so the system never gets developed, and then the whole bleed situation happened after that. And then a few months of Fnatic, they make the major, and then he's out of it again. So yeah, I think people are right to be a little annoyed at the process, but Jacasmo has actually seemingly improved the sort of innovations and the intuition of Fnatic in a weird way. Blame is taking more opening duels. KRIMZ is taking more opening fights as well. And so he does grace the server with his first in the anti-force buy. Just feels like people are taking a few more liberties, which is kind of actually not even Cypher related, but it has changed the dynamic somewhat.
There in the meanwhile tries to push forward. You've got to be joking. No one clears Nilo. Normally the second player's job to do that, but when Hades has been spotted, maybe they're just focusing down on dealing with the threat they see rather than the one behind them. Either way, it's not the best decision. They end up in a losing position. Is it another force buy on the B stream?
If the B stream just ends up being force buy wars, I'm going to have to check my sanity afterwards. That first series was already a bit of a test.
I don't know about you losing your marbles, but Fnatic's biggest problem is that they've lost the bomb.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably just a save, so it looks like this is a force buy win.
Hot dated down, just how I like it.
Yeah, they ran straight into a crossfire, and they didn't use a Molotov to clear out that cubby. It's a position that is often, that utility is designated to that spot for that exact reason. If not a Molotov, then sometimes double nades or something to flush a player out into the open. That was not the case here on the default for Fnatic. So they might have found a gap in a player that they could hound down, only to be lured into a trap.
Gonna get to see a double kill from Milo again. I think one of the great things about Heroic also adding Hades is you have to remember Heroic's biggest loss might not actually be Tenair. It might be the fact that they don't have Saw anymore. And sure, look, replacement coach is not bad at all. You have seen Tobis find success elsewhere, but it's not Saw. So being able to get someone who can maybe be a secondary voice at times, maybe be another contributing factor in timeouts and whatnot around a very young team, that's not something to be understated.
Yeah, sure. You know, on the inverse, you know, we could look at Fnatic and their work with Independent so far. Seems like he's quite almost kind of ruthless if we're going to sort of put the Cypher move on his shoulders. But he has high expectations, and I think, you know, in terms of immediate results, he's been able to action some kind of change in Fnatic. And that's, you know, pragmatic coaches instead of working off of vibes and just purely keeping chemistry in check. I'm actually all about that. I'm a big fan. Good.
Sometimes you need a cheerleader, but sometimes you need a drill sergeant.
Yeah. Ideally, you have someone somewhere in the middle.
A cheerleader drill sergeant? This just sounds like some kind of weird D-tier movie, Michael.
Well, you know, that's how I would describe Ash, actually. So
35 seconds in time is getting to be a bit of a problem over here. Both teams are getting a good idea of how they want to play this round out, but with the smoke still there for another 10, Fnatic will have to come in through these smokes. It is a lot more than they bargained for, though. They've got their own smokes to worry about as well. LMZ comes out with the first kill, picks up the second as well. Now Deagle at the ready, and Linus is giving out some nice technical tips. Guys, clear your corners.
no issues here. blameF took Sanctuary inside of that smoke, and he will be able to fish himself out a kill, but he's likely to die. In fact, welcomes the embrace, but hopefully doesn't die after time. Linus looking to hound him down and will succeed. blameF, absolutely no money. 650 in the pocket, and that's only because he found those 2 kills on the AK.
God, tough start over here for Fnatic despite winning the Virtus.pro round.
This is hardly how you want to construct your round, having to channel yourself through a smoke into that B-bomb site. But they were running low on time, so they had to make something happen. Meaty start to the round. Good nade down middle. It's all Glocks here for Fnatic. Not a single bout of investment.
Now, one of the things that I think for Fnatic I really want to see is maybe Jambo continuing to come alive. His match versus TYLOO, he had a great showing. And Hades, for me, has always been quite a consistent piece coming into the Tier 2, Tier 2.5 scene. He's obviously had some dips in form here and there, but largely speaking, I know what I'm getting with Hades. Jambo, maybe a little bit more up and down, I think it's safe to say.
Mm-hmm. Jambo can take over a game to a certain extent. But yeah, the consistency has been difficult. I think that's been really a conversation for Fnatic, full stop. You know, the only one that's really been able to keep his head above water in all the turbulence and the run up to the major has kind of been blameF. And he's, you know, to a certain extent, I agree with this conversation around Blame being sort of maligned because, you know, he does bait quite a lot. You know, let's not get that wrong. That does happen, but he also wins a lot of engagements that give his team a lot of chances to win. You know, there's a reason his stats have not changed much in this turbulent 3.0 round swing effect. Blame is contributing just in ways that some people seem to not like. Not quite as flashy, but he does get results.
Hades is in a very difficult spot about it. He's going to be opening up the grenade and the smoke with the grenade, and Jambo can just take advantage of it. Hades wasn't ready for anyone to be coming up that close to the smoke, and Jambo now progresses forward. He's created this threat corridor out on arches, but KRIMZ dropping the smoke will have been heard. Jambo moves through his own smoke, comes in from behind. He'll have a flank onto the short player, but Nilo has a fair fight of it. Youngster is the one who actually ends up winning the duel. Reposition is good. He's relying on excl on the side, but with excl down, Youngster has too much pressure on his shoulders. He will end up forfeiting the round.
Yeah, unfortunately, you needed more out of Youngster there, or excl to contribute somehow on the rotate. Youngster did a fantastic job, really locking things down from pit, but with his teammates falling around him, it's kind of the only way that they could win the round was through his efforts. Can't really ask for too much. Linus will still fish around for a couple of exits, but this round is conceded. Yeah, to be recovered. Linus will catch that kill on that exit, and will be able to retreat safely with the big green. I think it's his AWP as well. It's plastered in LNZ stickers.
Maybe someone's just a really big fan.
Yeah, who knew Hades? That was his argument to get into the team. You wouldn't believe how many stickers of you I have on my AWP.
Like, I've already made you rich in one way, let me make you rich with a win at CAC, baby.
Yeah. It would look good on the CV.
That's true. Hades, the consultant that actually does something other than making slideshows.
Yeah.
Fair, however, 0 and 5 start to him, and he's not had the best round of numbers so far in the tournament. He's obviously a low fracking IGL, one of the few young IGLs coming up in the scene who do have that. But you might need a performance from him. Heroic, though, now stressed out. This is a swing round for them. If they lose over here, they'll still be able to buy in the next, but it starts to get slightly more antsy. Good start, though. blameF goes down on his early bout of aggression. He thought he had a timing, and it just doesn't work for him.
Spam from KRIMZ is pretty on point as well. Does some damage to Youngster. That's a retreat from the apartments as a result. This is what people mean when they look at this new look Fnatic with the roster moves. Is, you know, people have been saying blameF have been taking more opening duels, and you know, on maps like Inferno, that is certainly the case. Not too dissimilar to, if you look at TYLOO, for example. Jamyoung was typically seen as like a late round lurker style player, but in the new version of that team, he is aggressive on Banana. He's a control and space taker. Blame fulfilling that role here for Fnatic. Isn't successful in this opening engagement, so they do find themselves at a man deficit. And that'll be doubled up. Hades, nice controlled kill inside of middle. And he's even going to find another. Fear looking the wrong direction. That's the bomb dropped in mid with 25 seconds.
Fnatic just looking a little bit all over the place after losing out on Blame, just consistently on the back foot, and no real responses ready. Now, I will remind everyone, I'll be honest, I thought that this would be Heroic banning out Inferno. I know that they've also banned out Train at times, but, you know, with Hades on your team, with obviously a much better operator. I mean, in my opinion, Hades is a much better operator than Alcarin is.
Sure.
Alcarin just hasn't had the same kind of time to develop and everything as well. I really thought they'd opt into a Train, but if they've done all this prep for Inferno, if they're ready to take Fnatic the distance on this, Hades can have a lot of that similar impact on this map as well.
I think partially because Train is sort of newer to the map pool, and the util you have to demonstrate on CT sides and T sides is can be a little bit more intricate for the timings you have to hit. I would say Inferno is probably an easier plug and play than Train is, but it's not unusual. Heroic have been opting as the first ban for a while. Yeah, Jabba takes a lot of damage to those HEs at the start. I think that's something that has changed as well with Fnatic, is that they are actually operating far more spawn-based. On certain maps, Inferno is obviously a map that does matter. If you want to be able to take Banana, having that first spawn is important.
Oh, Backshroud can't get the better of blameF over there.
Yeah, that's ugly. Could have been a kill.
Hades is just not missing any shots over here. He is really loving the LAN environment.
Yeah, he's such a high-quality stand-in that, I mean, just this year, he's stood in for G2.
Yeah.
And for Heroic. And
finding success wherever he goes. KRIMZ KRIMZ and Jambo left alone in a done deal round. It does feel like Fnatic just can't find anything working for them at all. Maybe KRIMZ could have had a bomb plant had Nilo not been stationed there, but another round where Fnatic do make some sort of commitments into it, but from the get-go, it just doesn't feel like they're getting a foothold in it at all. It looks shocking that this is their map pick. Still early days.
Yeah, they're going to feel disappointed with how it's going so far. Looking a little disjointed. Fights are going the way of Heroic, and the counteractions from Fnatic are very slow-moving and still feeling fairly independent. Might need to tighten up the ship. Play more to a pack or maybe change the tempo. Heroic are looking a little too comfortable.
It's also times like this where you want to have the conversation, okay, do we try and enable a single player to make a move? Who would it be? Jambo doesn't have his op. Yes, he's pretty good with the rifle as well, don't get me wrong, but blame's been trying to make moves on Banana already as it is. Do you just put more resources into him? Or do you go for maybe something like a set piece instead? Still is going to be a pretty default setup to start things off. It's Jambo and blameF out towards Banana, and blameF again peruses through the smoke while elsewhere on the map they can't really get any apartments control. Heroic though, they started off with basically 4 players at B. So they will have plenty of utility going into the late round.
It's also where you'd hope you'd have like a pocket strat that you could pull from all the demos of Heroic playing Inferno, but they've only played Inferno twice in the past few months. Both at Pro League, and again with that stand-in situation, who's to say they even played the same? It's been a very standard looking approach.
Can they follow up with anything? Hades comes in. Oh, this could be a very good kill if you can find Hades getting aggressive forward, but Hades is playing it so slowly. He knows that for them it's all about Archer's control and nothing else. They've got everyone else being incredibly defensive. He heard that boost being disassembled. Hades just has to hold. The entire A side basically depends on Youngster and on Hades not giving up archers. And as he peeks forward, he's found the perfect timing. With 30 seconds left, he knows Jambo is a back player as well, so they are ready to receive. Youngster now wants to take that peek forward, finds himself another one while Hades cuts off fair in short. Knows that there's only one prong of assault available to them. Youngster drops down, plays it safe, 15 seconds. Fnatic can do nothing to break in onto these sides. blameF and KRIMZ will brute force their way forward. LNZ's got a flashbang ready, but no one to help move through the smoke. You don't want the op to go first. They're going to allow excl, but with the smoke finishing off, KRIMZ is dead. They know where Blame is. He has to fight them all off. He's got the first 2. 2 bullets are left. Hades is low, and he's got 3 kills. Both sides. Hades looking to close things out with a pistol, but blameF cannot stand tall. It is Hades, the glory of a stand-in that simply will not falter.
Oh, him having a 5-7 there with all that built-up cash makes a world of a difference. That extra sidearm stopping power. blameF ran out of bullets, and Hades just needs one quick connection. Those are the types of rounds that you think Blame can pull out of the hat. Late round play, where Fnatic need it most. They're getting picked to pieces on the initial hit, but needed all 4. Wow, that shot from Hades.
Such a good shot.
That's insane. But none more important than this. Game of whack-a-mole between him and Blame. And strangely enough, Hades has the bigger biceps.
That's a real sleeper build right there.
So those souls he's been benching.
Does feel like there's a swarm of them coming out to his river, and Fnatic, apparently they've donated a lot of jerseys to the underworld.
Yeah.
They call it a CSR initiative. But they're the ones who might need a couple of handouts at this point. Retake util, used up early. No sound cues, no audio, no nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a burden of responsibility right now here for Fnatic to make something happen around the map. They need to expose a weakness. Right now, again, Heroic just feel a little too confident and comfortable in all their rotates. Maybe this force buy could shake things up.
30 seconds, and Heroic are calling rotate over. Jambo will be more than happy to go through the smoke. They've got flashes to try and push the Coffin's player away, but excl has already started off strong. And LNZ, well, he's doubled up. No, excl steals that. And Fear is just lagging behind. They haven't been able to chain their footsteps together, interrupted by utility and a lack of collective intention. Now, Fnatic, they're asking for death, and KRIMZ unfortunately can't receive it. 5 seconds on the clock, and yeah, this is a terrible start for Fnatic, even more so for Fear. He's now 0-9.
Now, I'm not going to say that having Cypher here would be a benefit to Fnatic, but it does seem like there's a hesitation to be that proper first man in it. You know, that burden of responsibility has been passed around in the games we've seen with Fnatic so far. Sometimes it's Fear, sometimes it's Jambo, sometimes it's blameF, but there is no singular focus that we can look to as a dedicated entry on this roster right now. And right now, it just feels like they're getting staggered and they're slowly waltzing their way in, hoping that they can out-jiggle the duels versus Heroic. There's nothing to make this CT side look disjointed.
And I'm going to say what every person in Twitch chat is thinking. I've been that garbage player in a stack of 5 who are all doing much better than me. I'm not saying Fair is having that. He's just having a really bad game, but it is kind of shocking to see that even then there's this hesitation coming through, right? Where naturally speaking, at times like this, you see a lot of IGL step up and say, guys, don't worry, I'm going to go out first. You trade me. Let's do this, right? But maybe that doesn't even help them there.
Well, that is how the saying goes, right? Nothing to fear but fear itself. And a 0-9 start.
And they have the most fair of all. In every sense of the word. I'm not sure how you salvage this half, if it's even possible, but at the very least, I mean, you've got to get at least 4 rounds. 3 at worst. 2 to be locked down this low? Surely not.
Well, if they had gone with this timing, they could have caught a 2-man A play. There's a 3rd man making its way over. Blame taking a bunch of damage over at Banana. They're in fact trying to split towards spawn, but excl's covering for exactly that. Even Linus right behind him while excl dies. Linus is hot on their heels. They're behind the smoke though, and Nilo's actually just locked them all down. They do not get past Moto. They have the bomb at their feet.
I would really like a Nilo replay over there, but blameF isn't done with this round. Now he is, actually.
Holy.
What a change up in conversation. KRIMZ.
The fact that Linus was even turning around gave Blame a chance.
Matt is trying to settle himself down inside the smoke, and now as he knows KRIMZ's position for sure, he'll just back off and play for safety. KRIMZ is watching as the clock runs down and out. And all he wishes that he could wind back the years. Instead, he's got the new face of Sweden in front of him, and Heroic are happy to have him on their roster.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 2 of the big prospects really out of the Swedish scene in Youngster and Nilo. Nilo's doing a great job so far on the CT side. Him and Hades with how the proclivity on this A-bomb site just means that there's basically no open runway. It smiles all around here for Heroic.
Don't you love Youngster smiling, man? He's such a jovial guy. Well, Fnatic's not going to be feeling healthy going into this hospital, and that's exactly what it is. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's just a graveyard. excl and Linus have really put it to bed. KRIMZ and company still trying to scale, and Nilo will still somehow find contribution with a random shot through the smoke just in case. Heroic are up to 9, and remember how I said Fnatic, they can't be contained to 2? They might be.
Yeah, it just feels like there's so many rounds that have been total non-starters. They're not finding opening kills. They're getting hit on incredible timings. You know, Fnatic, lest we forget, they won the pistol. To lose the force buy, and have only won 1 round since.
Lest we forget, they picked this map.
Yeah, also that. You know, in a lot of ways, we give leeway to in-game leaders. as long as the calling's good. 1-11, the calling seems to break down almost every time. Another smooth opener, a smooth start for Heroic. And of course, it's Hades. And just that kind of day. Overflick there from Hades, a rare one.
Youngsters coming in for a flank that might go very wrong. TYLOO will not be able to get that famous replication. Youngster can't cut off the bomb or anything like it either. He's going to be nowhere near this bomb site, so he's completely given this up. The best he can hope for is a kill on the blameF, and he will find that, turn into a 3v3, but this is not the advantage he was hunting for. Linus, though, actually make his way over, and he's serving as ample delaying factor. They're very worried about Youngster coming in from behind as well, and excl is hoping to use this as a distraction to walk out of apartments. So with Youngster going down, there should still be some sort of vigilance. And Jacasmo is the one keeping an eye out for it. Fnatic still are in a losable situation. And Incendiary to clear out Pit will make the call that, hey, Jambo and Fair likely would be setting up a crossfire, maybe from inside the site, but they do get a check, they do get a clear, it will not matter. Fair with a critical end, Jambo as well, a double kill to assist Fnatic with a third, but honestly, that round's all Jacasmo.
Yeah, I mean, it's these two Js that finally pull through here for Fnatic. Even with the opener there from Hades, he sticks around on short too long with a very big missed shot. He was holding a deep off angle. And just with that, it gives enough room for Fnatic to finally make their way into that A-bomb site. Could kind of see the stars aligning though for that Heroic retake. I mean, the flash play, it seemed like everything was pretty on point, but it doesn't get past the remaining Fnatic members. And so it will be 3 at the turn of the half. What a run on the CT side for Heroic. Consistently finding openers. Did not get hoodwinked in the slightest. Yeah, it was a full blind kill there for Jambo at the end. Yeah, not exactly a confident start.
Yeah.
The stakes aren't at their highest. They're not going to find themselves out of the tournament. This is largely for seeding coming into the playoffs. But skipping around and securing a top 4 finish, those are major positives. Get your hands on more prize money. That means that you don't have to win quite as many games.
Yeah. I mean, in a time for both of these organizations, which has been a struggle as well, it would be huge. TYLOO, forced back for now, and Heroic are happy to split up. They actually have the advantage of Youngster coming in from a very similar angle as the last round. This time on the T side, LNZ, excl, and Hades have come through. This is a very clear cleanup crew, and Hades is hoping to go to 15-4 with one more kill. He's just keeping Jacasmo locked out of there. Hades is quite low, so might end up being TYLOO to come in from the side, peek through, and Jacasmo's been given up these options, and at the very least collects on one of them. Bomb planted, the hunt is on. Jacasmo, well, he's very quickly taken down.
That's a Heroic team ace. They go second middle as Fnatic charge down mid on that CT side, wanting to take destiny into their own hands. But fate does not favor Fnatic. They get backstabbed as they're going for their aggro move. That may just be a wrap here on Inferno. Need the force buy just for a little bit of room if you're the CT side. And even then, there's no guarantees the rest of the half will go so well. Be a great place to start, though. Oh, Jambo's really taking chances. He's a solo A player, but he's puffing out his chest and hoping that just his continual pressure down middle will send Heroic the other way.
Well, somehow they actually end up coming out on top, despite Linus looking like he might have been teed up for 2. Good overrun from Fnatic as they're able to dodge most of those bullets, but Youngster and company still will take this procedural path forward into A. Jambo, that's the timing where he can find Hades. Hades just pulls out his gun, and Jambo doesn't realize how close he got to being able to get that round potentially back in their favor. Still, 3-on-3, not terrible. blameF can have the boost set up for him, and that's exactly what will happen. Spots out ahead, barely so, but no one else will be revealing positions. Heroic are being incredibly careful about this post plant. Finally, TYLOO takes a peek, and he's got the advantage. Off the distance, Fair will trade. Both positions zone, Hades does reveal. And with a smoke to try and segment this off, this will at least not be a crossfire they have to deal with. But Nilo's going to be looking to put this to his own use. Comes in with an element of surprise. Hades and Nilo's both coming out on top. Heroic are unstoppable right now.
Yeah, I mean, what a super-powered stand-in Hades has been. I mean, the kill he gets just to catch Jambo making this ambitious play through the smoke really does turn the tide, brings it back to 3-on-3 where there's no way the Fnatic have any vision into the site itself. And then hinging off each other perfectly here. You know, a smoke that's down that's trying to break the crossfire. Nilo stays proactive, and Hades wins his fight too. So, liking the atmosphere here for Heroic. It's very fast responses, understanding what moves have to be made, and some solid shooting throughout.
Fnatic have already lost their B-side defender. Jacasmo never stood a chance of a hair. And Heroic, I mean, look, all I can say is that they might be worried about a call from Goldplay's lawyers because they've been showing us a sky full of stars all game long.
Yeah, this is a one-sided affair. Just nothing falling their way. As if the round Heroic slide and weasel their way into that B bomb site on 0 audio cues is the round that there's only one B player and he's setting up nades. Everything just feels off here for Fnatic on their map pick. Can't even find a kill via blame on the save. He gets outblamed.
I think there's still going to be a lot of blame to go around at the end of this map.
Yeah, I just think that everything's been pretty poor. It's one of those where, you know, if one or two pieces, if they just kept on crumbling in post plans, if there was one thing to really identify, then yeah, I guess you could say that, but it just been a lack of kind of everything here. Maybe a lack of conviction on the entry, but that's about as much as you could say. They're still adapting to the changes.
Well, as Fair pushes forward, Linus will end up still getting the kill because obviously he can do no wrong, and this is Exhibit B. A obviously just having gone by. Heroic have waltzed all over Fnatic. This is like the scene in every breakdance movie ever where you show up to the club having learned your 3 steps and you realize the person in front of you just freestyling all over your faces.
Yeah, put that in the Olympics. Well, KRIMZ will get floored, as do the rest of Fnatic. Yeah, 13-3 scoreline. Heroic never look back. They win a force buy. They contain it to 3 rounds in that first half for Fnatic, and there's just no way. There's no light at the end of that tunnel. Heroic had it completely boarded shut.
The best looking round for Fnatic is the round that they almost won with blameF.
To use the AWP or how to use that as a weapon.
I think the only criticism that feels fair would be the Senpaius, obviously, given how well he has at times performed in G2. But even in G2, Senpaius isn't like the big star. And I wouldn't blame Linus for having a blind spot in his scalding because he's also very rarely dealt with like star operas or even operas who can take over. Hades could be a big leveling up field for him. But for Fnatic,
sure,
what they have to worry about is, can we not just be like the Linus story? Can we be our own story? Can we succeed away? And KRIMZ wants to start off with aggression. It's a head on the ground and it is sharp. It's Linus whose big brain spilled all over the floor while Youngster finally responds by going back to suicide. Now they will have mid control because the CTs have abandoned it, but Fnatic get to reset in secrecy.
Yeah, it was the fact that they got a kill at the B bomb site as well that I think caused them to cancel this hyper-aggressive route, because they tried to do this on Inferno. It did not work out. This time they have come away with a decent result, 4-on-3, but they will be split 2-2 apiece between these bomb sites.
Smoke and a Molotov to try and take over the bomb site. Fear is going to be moved away, but Jacasmo is finding good production. 2 big kills and Hades is left alone. 1 versus 4, and As much as I have praised his form, he's only got a clock to do it with. Maybe he can. No, Blame will get some sort of revenge at the very least for that one clutch in Inferno that he lost.
Yeah, pops his head with a pistol instead. Call for Fnatic. Very quick entry from KRIMZ put the whole of the Heroic team on notice. Hopefully that can help set the tone here for Fnatic. Didn't really get their boots off the ground on their map pick in the series. But they won the pistol on Inferno too. It was that force buy that brought them back down to earth.
Very empty mid-side of the map. Fnatic initially looked to fight out long, and then they will quickly go back to repopulate middle. They're going to be receiving a flash to their faces. Potentially, blameF is going to be caught out, fully widened out, and he is going to be followed up with. That is fantastic. Now, two players still defending this B bomb site. You've got Jacasmo and KRIMZ. KRIMZ starts off, Jacasmo follows through. The smoke on the bomb site is causing too much chaos, and well, meanwhile, Linus, who was hoping to be a lurking presence for the late round, is instead just going to be late. It's a great start, but no follow-up there. What a response from Fnatic. Great smoke thrown down on the site.
Yeah, great recovery. Yeah, all these smokes that were on the bomb site just made these fights far more awkward when they start shoveling their way through the B doors and trying to get out tunnel. KRIMZ and Jacasmo just locked down the B site in its entirety. None of those pistols or SMGs could close the gap. Didn't realize what angles were necessarily exposed with all those smokes down. But the opener, that was pretty damn good from Heroic. The timing on the flashes was beautiful. blameF didn't stand a chance.
Still coming with a little bit of fight in this one, but unfortunately for Heroic, Jacasmo, well, he's worried that Cypher might be back in contention after that last map. He is here to show off what he's made of, and he's going to continue delivering in this anti-eco. Numbers being picked up, farmed up like it's nobody's business. 8 and 2. He's okay with dying there.
Yeah, not exactly the full ace, but hitting a lot of headshots on that M4A1S, a little aim display. Puts his team into a nice clean win, even if Fear died as well. Must be happy they skirted by that attempt from Heroic. AWP dropped over to Jambo.
Ready and waiting for Hades as well. Both offenses shouldn't really get a wind of each other over here. Jambo has a possibility that he can make a move for a fight towards lower tunnels. No one else in Fnatic can really look for a play elsewhere, even if KRIMZ has thrown a lot of his utility out in B very early on.
Oh,
that gets
beautiful
dangerous.
flick from Jambo.
Hades is hunting, but Jambo abandons the post. Jacasmo will be slightly more difficult to find, a much more mobile target with the M4A1, but excl is one on the hunt. It is mobility versus mobility, and Jacasmo again comes out on top. A missed shot from Hades, one of the few we've seen, and Heroic will not be able to recover. Not with ease, at least. Flashbang forces Jambo away from short, while the long exchange might be what ends up mattering more than not. Nilo taken down.
I know it's early in the half, but these are kind of how Fnatic were losing rounds on their T side on Inferno as well. You know, kind of getting picked apart one by one on peaks, not even really being given straight up duels. So another one lost for Youngster in an attempt over at B. Feeling a little flat at the start, which is good news for Fnatic. We're hoping for that type of a response. Hades will be spotted on his attempt to hold on to this AWP, but they are hounding for him. Fear inside of T-spawn may have to wait the timer. He hears the steps up close, so as he's kind of on a timer to take this peek, but they should be able to get it after the time. Wide swing, flash, and Hades can't connect, so that AWP will not see the light of day. Hades with only 250 in his back pocket. The rest of the team are likely to buy.
This would be the kind of place where you want to see Tobis chime in. Call for a timeout.
The thing is, with Hades not having any reserve cash, yeah, actually, they don't necessarily have to buy out. I actually like this route with Heroic. Maybe have bought a little too much, actually. But they're on max loss bonus, so it shouldn't matter.
It's a fight for a plant over here more than anything else. And look, Fnatic have lost numbers, right? So if you can get some kills, maybe you put them in swing round territory. But you are taking a risk, and Jambo will not let it pay off. Great shot despite being fully whitened out. His teammates will be telling him, yeah, you got the kill.
I do think there was a certain value of going for the full save, because you could probably justify getting the AWP out. You could still do it via xCloud as well.
Hades will be able to get Kevlar and the AK-47 in the next round regardless, but...
I felt like you could get a little bit more leverage, perhaps, in the round to follow.
Fnatic in the meanwhile are having a good time, but maybe not for that long. This is, again, a few members more lost than they would have liked to. Remember, it is still not quite in safe territory as far as their economy is concerned, and KRIMZ will make sure they keep the bare bones 3 alive.
You know what I mean about the vibe of the ways these rounds are developing being very similar?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they're just so many of the fights feel so isolated, and there's kind of a lack of intensity to the gunfights. They're just so spread.
Decent buy all across the board. Coming through from Heroic, they don't really have to miss out on too much. And let's see whether they can bring that intensity over here. Jambo forced off the angle and the Molotov behind him. This is really troublesome now. This is more you like it, but Hades isn't in position to actually punish this. Jambo will be able to hold down the mid side of the map with an incendiary to help as well. And xCloud is going to have to be the one who takes the fight. Instead, Jambo is completely ready.
To find a counteraction. Over to long they'll go. Flash lined up from the car, and it'll be deep enough that Fear is full blinded. They didn't actually clear for him. They clear behind the door, but they heard his retreat. Nilo still unable to wrangle that frag, and Fear's called for backup. Smoke dropped over on the corner, but he doesn't even necessarily need that help. Not until it was to find Hades. Blame around the back of the smoke.
Yeah, I really hope they go for a timeout.
It's contagious somehow. These T sides are simply falling flat. A lack of pace on trades and simply clearing the wrong spots. It's a complete role reversal.
I liked how Heroic started off with both of those exchanges, right? I mean, the way they were able to force Jambo back from lower tunnels, but the fact that there's no one there to actually try and pressure, try to, you know, take advantage of it. Hades obviously positioned much more for a late round peak rather than for an early round aggressive play. Then after that, not being able to find the kill to Fair either. Both of those were nice setups.
Well, it might be nice, but it ain't helping.
Sounds like about... Never mind. Every guy on Reddit, basically. I'll put it nicely.
Yeah, a little passive-aggressive, perhaps. Well, if you'd known this, you would have done this. Like, yeah, well, I didn't. Thank you very much. Why do you have to be so condescending?
Heroic, however, have just been descending. And that first map might have been a con. Jambo covers off Fair's retreat. Fallout flashes catch out all three players, but Fair still gets the kill. He was past the flash because he was slow to back off. Blame and Jambo will rip them all to shreds. Fnatic are up 7-0. This is not the team I saw in Inferno.
No, absolutely not. It's a completely different vibe. The atmosphere has changed, and it genuinely does feel like they have swapped places. Heroic were playing with this same sort of confidence, this strut to their step. Fnatic this time, they get forced away from long, and there's 3 players challenging from CT. They construct a firing squad to greet Heroic as they get themselves out into that position. There is a extra level of confidence, maybe a no cares given attitude, because they are disrespecting Heroic on these peaks.
Okay.
But there's a bit of disrespect being answered right back. Linus sending it out towards long. Fear caught completely off guard.
Do you want a job done right? You've got to do it yourself. That's the right way to get an opening. What's the right way to end a round? Fnatic have not really had any hesitation about how they want to play this. They have called all stops over to lean towards A. They've cleared out the possibility of a long rush, and now they return to explore middle. KRIMZ given that responsibility, relegated to duties, but Youngster on the other side, and he's going to have the advantage. Now a 5 versus 3 with KRIMZ going down. Youngster has to be careful. He ends up giving them a chance to fight back. Heroic will be slow on the scale. They've only got 2 flashbangs to be able to get all 3 players onto the bomb site. Will be difficult with this. Hades has been left on the platform. Smoke's blown open, not just once but twice. Hades will find Chikazmo in the meanwhile, who's looking for more information, and Fnatic are still likely going to consider going for the fight around this, but you've got the most valuable weapon and one of the more passive players on the team. Jambo still gets himself one more on the cross, and Incendiary on the side. They are wasting so much time for this T side. Getting onto the bomb site to plant the bomb is proving to be difficult. They've got another follow-up Incendiary, and while Blame jump spots to clear out position, Linus simply cannot scale up into the site. It has to be Hades to close the distance. Linus is going to be caught off but not brought down. They swing out twice. Blame runs out of bullets. 10 seconds, and while Jambo is repositioning, Nilo will be in a place where if he plants at the wrong area, it could still end up being death. Jambo peeks out and Hades has read it right. So Heroic will still barely get it together and get their first round on the board.
Yeah, that was stressful. That was incredibly stressful. Even with the clean opener, with Youngster finding this kill to KRIMZ, Heroic were ground to a halt with all the extra util that was on short, all the stalling they could do with those incendiaries. Heroic didn't feel confident or nor comfortable to continue progressing. And it was a good read from Hades. Kept his eyes on the prize. Realized that Jambo should have peaked. But when he didn't on short, he had to be elsewhere. First round for Heroic, a 7-1 start for Fnatic. They'll have to try and do well to respond in. KRIMZ, a secondary AWP. It's Jambo and KRIMZ that find both the openers they need, and it stops the assault on B immediately.
Heroic, that was a cute round. Welcome back to Stopping Power. Nilo, however, at least deals with 1. But all that's been given over is a fool's hope. No, maybe Jambo is the one who's had a fool's hand instead. It's back to 3 versus 3. A deep nade that doesn't actually trace out Nilo, but the Incendiary forces him forward, and KRIMZ can get the job done. Apparently, old dogs come through with a lot of new tricks, but this isn't going to be the one to close the show. Youngster's hoping that he can be the ones to get the curtains to come down. blameF, passive all throughout, now creeps forward back into CT. Youngster thinks this is going to be clear. He thinks the primary threat is Chikazmo. He is wrong. Coming in is the big bad. It's Blame from behind. 8 for Fnatic. It gets hairy, but Blame still gets it done.
Yeah, it's that guy with no hair that's really the issue. I mean, a secondary up on KRIMZ's hands. He gets a blinder shot. Deals with Nilo on this extremities play as well. And I didn't know that KRIMZ quite had it like that. But Fnatic will be all the more pleased that he can. That will certainly shake things up. Heroic thought they had an in, but they could just get shut out. Chikazmo turning away. Might have heard that bounce on the flash and thought it was coming towards the lower tunnels, but he was misguided. So that's an opener. Something that they can work off of. Gonna have a flash lined up for short. Blame. Yeah, caught by that flash, and support from Fear was actually him lining up a flash to enable an aggressive peek. It's Youngster that they'll find on the B tunnels lurk, but that should prompt a push forward here from Heroic. Fear has a lot on his plate, but he delivers so much more than he should have. A double kill as they emerge from short. It's back to 2-on-2.
Fnatic weren't even planning on contending with this. Instead, Hades peeks back out into the open arms of Jambo. It's a fast shot, don't get me wrong, but it's one he should have never even been given. And that leaves LNZ alone. He has to double up his frags across the game. 2 versus 1, and I think KRIMZ spotted him. I think he has. Jambo's still worried, though. Maybe wrong. Information given over. Shot has been missed. LNZ now given a chance, but as KRIMZ comes in from the side, he's still got the jump on him. Fnatic can still keep this ridiculous spree of success going. 9-1 now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big clutch there from KRIMZ. I thought they had spotted him as well. I was fairly convinced of that, but they seemed a little unsure. That peek from Hades, that will ultimately cost Heroic this round, because, yeah, there was ample time to cross and play the post plant. It was a very, very ambitious challenge, but he thought he'd get the drop on them. In fact, he opened up the door for the complete retake and a KRIMZ clutch.
Let's not forget Fair's double kill while he's underneath the incendiary and being rushed down by 2 players as well, right?
Yeah. If he didn't get those 2, they don't go for it. Because, listen, they may have a 9-1 scoreline now, or an 8-1 before that, but their money actually wasn't in a fantastic or an untouchable spot.
Could have had this be an 8-4. Instead, I mean, there's a lot of places where it could have had this be XYZ is applicable. Fnatic just want to win. That's really all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best look that Heroic have had outside of the round that they already succeeded in. They've been struggling, really, to get into after plant positions, breaking into bomb sites. Again, very similar to the issues that Fnatic had on their T side on Inferno. That 13-3 may not feel as bad if you can answer back with almost the same type of score. They've got to finish off this half first.
They're looking to end B. Fnatic have all their top performers in B.
Honestly, it's been a weird and wacky day. 3B, their top performers. Somehow Heroic wins. I'm not saying it's the most calculated forecast I've ever given, but somehow, some way. Well, no, KRIMZ has found the opener, and there's no longer a split side to this B side split.
Oh god, Incendiary is going to be coordinating them into easier deals for KRIMZ as well. 3 kills found. Linus and Hades, the 2 IGLs, I mean, there's a lot of brain over here. I don't think there's enough brawn to take over, and with Hades missing another shot, it has to be an impossible round. He does close the distance, and no scope attempted, but today even Gaben won't come down to help. 10-1. If there were concerns about Fnatic after Inferno, they were all legitimate. Fnatic, though, they weren't sharing them.
I can't even really identify it here for Heroic. Again, they're just losing opening fights. They're playing to round out defaults. And just into the construction of that B split, they lost the second prong of the assault. Well, at least they win and lose together, because everyone's at about 5 kills apiece.
The Spider-Man meme when it comes to questioning whose firepower is missing.
Yeah. Both teams would kind of feel that way, to be honest.
Hades at least stays alive over here. He does have the bomb, and that was spotted. Jambo, worried about a crossover in short, is going to be rewarded about his concerns, while Nilo's going to be given a tough challenge. Jambo will lose his life. Nilo, it's a fight that he's managed to get himself out of, pushes back in with a flashbang that ends up blinding himself more than his enemy, and then comes a backstab. Chakasmo takes advantage, but maybe Fnatic's double push into long will be quickly exploited. The bomb can actually be planted over here. There isn't going to be any incendiaries or so, and Hades will have to plant for short. The problem is, incendiaries and grenades now come in. blameF wasn't going to be pulling those out earlier on, but when he sees that there's no fights being taken, well, now it's 11-1 for Fnatic. It is the opposite of Fear's scoreline at the end of the first half of Inferno. I mean, how the pendulum swings.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, didn't even think about it that way. What a perspective. I mean, what can you say, really? Fnatic just kept on winning fights. There was nothing really too interesting. The simplification of strategies for Heroic was really just aggressive long control, aggro fast B attack, and both got immediately trumped. Along was probably their best avenue in terms of actual just raw success in finding an entry, targeting Fear, who, as an in-game leader, sometimes does lag behind in the fragging department, not unusual for his position. But anytime they found themselves with that, even then the one round that Heroic pulled together was incredibly strained. And that was when they found themselves in a 5-on-3. So yeah, not a lot of positives to draw on here for Heroic. Somehow both teams were more prepared for each other's pick than their own.
Yeah, that's really the only way you can break it down. LNZ out and long. Normally I say fighting for pride rather than the game, but right now I'm not sure what it is. Fighting for extension of his life. And the rest of his teammates now, despite all that utility, he's not able to do too much. It's Hades who actually gets not just first, but the second kill as well. LNZ has a possibility where he can stop this bomb from even being planted, and that would be a really good start for Heroic. I've given over access points to the bomb site, but not the bomb plant itself. Now with Jacasmo finding one, Blame not being too far off, there still is a possibility for the CT to crumble. They might be flustered, though crumbling they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something. It ain't much, but it's something. Time for an 11-1 run.
I have faith. I'm not sure what I have faith in, or who for that matter, or why, but I have it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we need to... I mean, both of these sides, the issue that we've really had has just been the T sides from both have been pretty poor so far in this series. Fnatic are the only ones that can kind of change that narrative by simply closing, and they only need to get 2 rounds. That's all that needs to happen.
God, Fnatic sucks so much on Dust2 versus Heroic. They only got 2 rounds on their T side, Michael.
Yeah, well, let's save it for when it happens, because there were issues with that Inferno T side. It's not like it can't happen again here on Dust2.
Yeah, maybe. Look,
I'm not saying it's likely, I'm saying it's possible.
I'm not saying that. But Fnatic, look, at the very least right now for them, it's about closing through with confidence. Hades is building some of his own. Double kill of the pistol round. Nice anti-eco pickups over here as well. They keep it largely honest. M4 recovered. Jambo looks to duel. blameF will get the bomb plant in, and on a full eco, that's maybe the best you can hope for, but maybe more than that is coming their way. Blame with an eagle has made this relevant. And Fnatic do not believe in eco rounds being an automatic loss. They believe in every round being fought for, and excl is having to experience that firsthand. Blame a kill away from a quad in Inferno. It is Dust2 where he'll close it out in style. Heroic, get the grave site ready. Just put them in. Just put them in.
Oh dear. 2-on-4. And it's this synchronized set of frags, that Jambo adjustment on the jump, and these blameF instant deegs. That will spur Heroic into absolute turmoil. It's Fnatic at 12.
Oh my god, they
gonna
call it a
hurt.
tactical timeout. That is such B.
Yeah, there aren't many times where in-game leaders use it in that way.
It's kind of crazy that we're getting the Ukrainian Fnatic calling a tactical timeout to BM the Swedish heroic.
What a time to be alive. It's a nice shot.
Ready to put it to bed, perhaps, is Jambo. Maybe not that fast.
Kind of stuck around a little too long, huh? You would have known they probably bought a scout, which, you know, the first kill's fine. The second one, he could take some liberties. He's had a hell of a game, as of most of the members on Fnatic. Only one that's lagged behind is in-game leader Fear. Should be a free KRIMZ. Should.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. Youngster went to check it, but grossly overpowered.
Double scouts will be given a few more targets, perhaps. LMZ peeks back in for one of them. Shoulder spotted and tagged, sure, but Fear is here to compensate. 4 versus 2, and with excl on the ground, it is just a matter of time. KRIMZ will be looking to close it down. Heroic are going to be humiliated out of Dust2. It is 13-2 after I thought that Heroic's run could not be parallel. They won 13-3 on Inferno. Somehow Fnatic have managed to do one better on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, I don't know whether to be impressed or disappointed, really, in either of the performances as they see fit. I mean, Heroic, we had nothing but good things to say. Fnatic, it's hard to say anything other than they get that new look ahead of the major. Heroic should be the hungriest. You know, they are the team next to FUT that aren't in major contention, alongside Virtus.pro. We still have 3 of those teams that didn't get direct invites to the major that are actually still in the running. This is... I mean, a really, really good opportunity for them to stake their claim on that next season.
Fnatic did a wonderful job of wiping out the memory of Inferno from their heads. Can Heroic do the same with Dust2 as we head into the last map of on the upper bracket, the last map of this series? Heroic will be starting off with a grenade and an incendiary. Hello and LMZ are, however, on the B bomb site, so those will not be put to use. It's all about firepower. It's all about these USBs. And it starts off with excl getting a great opening kill. Blame takes a bit of damage over here as well. Hades still yet to be detected. Did crouch down. I'm not sure if KRIMZ would have been able to suss that out or not, but Fear can't find the kill. It is Blame instead to pick it up. Fear comes in from up top, and they're able to isolate out Hades, and with that, the A-side defenses have fallen, but reinforcements come dry, and they're not able to get anything done here. Halo's alone. 1-on-2. Position known. A flashbang missed, but Fear gets a second.
I mean, the opening stop to the site actually looking quite promising there for Heroic, only for this 1-2 punch and Fear and blameF to suddenly go guns a-blazing straight through those defenses. I mean, all 5 between that pairing. Fear has gotten off to pretty poor starts on both maps, but already off to a hot to trot here on Mirage. Heroic will move in with that force buy. A Deagle and MP9 and MP7. It's rather a trio of Deags. One will at least fire off shots, so Fnatic should know what they're up against.
Heroic are incredibly committed to the idea of just punishing anyone who's crossing over in through short or trying to take a fight into connector. The only player on Fnatic with any real movement, it's Jacasmo, and he's lurking out in a difficult position to get information. Flash did not come in, Nalo does not connect, Xcloud's MP7 and Hades and LNZ actually come out on top massively so. LNZ, I apologize, I would like to formally make that clear. You can carry maps consistently, my bad, bro.
Wasn't familiar with your game.
Now, it's not over. Jacasmo can isolate at least one of those duels. Assuming Hades keeps on peeking through. Jacasmo with a grenade. He has spotted Hades. Hades is not going to die despite being low. This is still just enough HP. Jacasmo doesn't have any other utility to be able to pick up to finish the job either. He has to do it now with a very aware CT side. Picks up the bomb, takes the right duel, but unfortunately it's against the wrong man. LNZ, big 3-piece to give Heroic that force by win.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 kills top middle were so damn clean and fast. LNZ, surprising himself, I think, lets out a scream when he pulls through for the squad.
That's not even close on either one of them.
I mean, the first one is. The second is, yeah, there's a bit of luck involved. Oh yeah, atmosphere recovered. They win a round and Hades is just hitting a spray transfer all the way down top middle.
Inferno, is this you?
They just need a vibe check at the start of each game, and suddenly tides have turned. Flawless anti-force.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Barely a lick of damage on a heroic member. Well, what to do now? Full save here for Fnatic. Heroic may take some extra liberties, knowing that they're likely against a full eco. Objective will be do some damage, get that bomb planted. Now, it has largely been T-sides. That has been the issue for both teams. There's no way to get past that. The teams that have picked into each of the maps have started on T-side, and both have struggled.
Yeah, but to be fair, we don't know if CT sides would have been an issue or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Hades and Nilo do get the immediate cleanup. blameF in a position where he really doesn't have much to do with it. Maybe a bit of damage, but what good is damage when Heroic are picking up money the way they are? They have got almost the perfect start to this map. 6k a piece on average, with Hades being the only exception after he purchases into the AWP. Has someone else drop it over. Why not?
Yeah, won't even have to be the one that does it. Yeah, Nilo is the one that fosters that into the round for them. A lot of Galils out for Fnatic to try and get this first proper gun versus gun round underway. Looking like they might try and hit for a faster timing. There's 3 grouped up into Palace, but they're not all at the entrance. It's Youngster that sits close to the ramp smoke. He's got a lot on his plate, but teammates are coming.
Good repositioning. Oh, Youngster is going to be so hard to find over here. If they start to come through the smoke, KRIMZ is watching out for him. Youngster's got 2. The bomb spotted as well in the middle of it all. blameF was the happy third to actually get the kill, but you've lost every number advantage you could have been in possession of otherwise. excl still with an incendiary to continue trying to deny the plant. Fear eats that grenade while an op is scoped in. Hades getting ready for the peek from Fear. Finishes off what the utility started. blameF finally recovers that bomb, only to have it wrested right back out of his hands. Heroic another round with 4 alive.
And they'll happily take some upgrades alongside it as well. Fnatic just trying to burst through that smoke. It's that Youngster 2-piece that immediately stops the progress here for Fnatic. That was where the brunt of their assault was coming from. blameF didn't want to journey that smoke as his teammates were coming out ramp. And they fall victim to those rotates. Hades out from CT is more than enough.
Okay. The vibes are very clearly looking very good.
Yeah, I mean, we've been tuning into the cameras of the team that's winning most often, so it's always been positive vibes, but you know, we're not necessarily keeping a track or keeping our finger on the pulse of the team that's losing.
And he hides away, expecting more flashes to come through with a half line. That's not an unreasonable question.
Oh,
This is going to become a lot more dangerous of a potential bomb plant, but fortunately TYLOO does recover. Fear coming in from behind is wondering whether he should actually look for a kill or not. He needs to find it, and with Blame and an AK nearby, T-Sides have suddenly got the advantage. Hades has to do it all. Will not have been heard with the AWP, and I don't know if he's suspected over here either. Fear is tagged and not quite bagged. Hades, maybe a bit of patience would have gone a long way, but at least he brings it back to a 2v2. Blame's going to have to go for the spam sooner rather than later, but he's decided against it. He's playing it patient, and he's been rewarded. And still has another smoke ready. You can pop it down at the mouth of connector. Instead, it tries to go for the smoke on the bomb. Deep nade onto blameF. He knows the bomb's not being defused. TYLOO gets the one, and now he needs to stick it out. Jambo looking for the AK to recover it through, but he simply can't trace it out. Hades will live. The Tech-9 can't find the target needed. Hades, even in this impossible situation where Fnatic get the 3 versus 2 advantage, bomb is down, everything going their way, they can't win the round.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely hoodwinked Heroic there as well with how much aggression was mounting over on B. TYLOO does a great job of, you know, finding those first 2 kills and dealing with the fake, but it displaces enough of these Fnatic members that, or rather these Heroic members, that Fnatic actually find a way into this A bomb site. And for it to have come down to a late round defuse using that smoke, that'll be a bit of heartbreak there for Fnatic. Could have been a way to deal with this mounting momentum that Heroic have.
Good kill into TYLOO.
Yeah, positive way to start. Took some damage on the spam and then tracked down by an HE.
Jambo's a player to watch out for in this round over here. He's being set up for with a flashbang. Next one is completely blinded. It's 2 caught off by it, and Jambo's happy to pick them both up. And with a little pocket, does fall at the end of the day, but Jacasmo is now scaling onto the bomb site. Still gets a kill. Linus feels like he might have dropped the ball a little bit. Otherwise, in a 2 versus 2, you know, bomb not planted yet. Maybe you can still make an argument.
I mean, that wasn't really Linus's fault. Like, Hades is on the bomb site, and a T has made his way out into the B bomb site under the window. You know, Hades had to miss a shot for that to happen, or miss a timing. It's really just a poor set of circumstances here for Heroic. The flash from Fnatic was absolutely sublime. Couldn't have asked for more on an entry. Really, a lot of people can entry if they're set up for success.
Yeah,
Fnatic
if everyone's
just
just blind.
Yeah, Fnatic are just dishing out that responsibility. Well, Hades will be allowed to hold on to this AWP. The way he dies is if he peeks into Palace, and even Fear won't go hunting for it too aggressively. There's a lot of money built up here for Heroic. Finding that ult would certainly have hurt their finances, but they know they're going to have to deal with the buy this round regardless. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Heroic maybe change things up slightly. Haven't yet to see them go for any sort of aggro play. And there's only one round that they lose, but by sitting static and hovering around these smokes, Fnatic construct a very solid opener.
Curious about what KRIMZ is going to be up to out in Palace. More likely than not, he's going to serve more as a distraction than anything else, should the bomb end up sticking to its destination.
It's a very cute trick there from Jambo. Way to sort of bump your head just as you're going for a jump spot in middle.
Take home. Well, Jambo's been sent home instead.
Yeah, it didn't exactly help him realize that Hades was on short. Couldn't see him.
KRIMZ's revealed position over here as well. A deep grenade to continue weakening up excl, who is happy to be forced back. He knows that they've got a very good defense out on this B-bomb side as well. This is going to be Heroic having no reason to move whatsoever. Man advantage. Op on B, 3 players out on A who, do still have some semblance of utility. Fnatic have recognized that the only way that they make this work is maybe with a difficult activation in through window. Stop connector smoke is finishing up though, and Fair will finish off excl. In the meanwhile, a deep Molotov to displace youngster. TYLOO will be the player to be called into question. Can he find activation before KRIMZ comes through and spots him out? Fair doesn't get eyeline on him. Linus comes through. Double kill is teed up, and TYLOO will get them both before KRIMZ descends. Now in a 1v3 with 14 seconds and Incendiary on top of the bomb. KRIMZ is forced away from it, looking for the kill on the Linus, and he is going to be given a fighting chance. The problem is Hades doesn't believe in fair fights.
The extra man, that hidden tiger inside of the bomb site. TYLOO goes completely unchecked and with unfettered access to a second kill. Lines them up perfectly, even if KRIMZ backstabbed him almost immediately. TYLOO's timing couldn't have been more slim, but hit more perfectly. That'll be another disappointment there for Fnatic. Found the kills they needed, found the space, but didn't account for Heroic being ahead of the play. Independent now with some words, I'm sure, to change things up.
Hades continues to impress over here as well, man. Just very well prescient. An earlier round that he saved, obviously, when they were hoodwinked on B.
Guys, really good fucking round.
Over here, he opens things up. Fnatic look better, though, than they did earlier on. Don't let the scoreline deceive you. This is still a T side that clearly is coming in with some sort of plan and preparation that is giving them progression, but not the round wins.
Thought last round there could have been a justification for a change up here for Heroic. A little bit more aggression. Not that not last round, but Youngster will position forward into ramp. Just a slight change. See how far he presses it, especially with all the mounting pressure in middle for Fnatic. Throwing a lot of util their way. Heroic could be encouraged to push one of those extremities. Looks like KRIMZ is on a collision course.
KRIMZ is going to be completely sussed out. They know that this is not going to be an attack coming in for the A-bomb site, but little do they know, it could still be coming in A from connector. Fair and company will clear out ladder room, but with 2 players back in apartments, this is going to be a very difficult scale up. Blame if he finds excl, that's a game changer. excl taken down, and Youngster is going to be the only hidden element of this round who's coming in from behind. He's been in pursuit all along, and with Jambo dying, Linus, that push forward somehow pays off. 1 for 1's not bad, even if it ends up a Heroic disadvantage. They are at the very least going to be scrambling Fnatic around the rest of the map. Youngster comes into a site defended by Blame. Blame will not let this one go. He's going to find Youngster. Head turn looks like the easiest kill in the world when he gets it. That's TYLOO alone. A lot of money built on early on, but now is not one of those times. Heroic could really use a save on this rifle. Blame is sharp as a knife off of a whetstone.
Yeah, I mean that's perfect from blameF. It's exactly what you want him doing in this type of position, in this type of a role. And on this roster, he finds a key kill that allows them an option to bail out. He starts investigating, and as his teammates take contact over at B, they realize that, wait, they're getting flanked from A. They know it's not an A play, and Blame immediately moves to take that space. His positioning was flawless, and he created enough runway that Fnatic had that extra option that didn't seem available before.
It's a straightforward idea. Use excl to clear out the top of middle and put a Hades there to defend it later on. But that one grenade, it's been enough to push Hades back. Fnatic still have a crossfire to deal with over here. excl and TYLOO getting ready for what they think is going to be a mid-side assault. They're not wrong, but the fashion is what is going to be put to question. Second smoke goes out towards connector. Jambo chances it, moves on through it. excl is going to be looking to clear it out, but blameF serves to be distraction. And as they line up the spray, it's Youngster who still comes in. Who's distracting who is the question. blameF will get a bit more damage in, but with the players still on the A bomb side, they feel like they have to go to B, which is doubly reinforced. So TYLOO with 2 and Jacasmo, who can't come out of the window in time, will fight back, but he's not got a winning battle over here. No bomb ready. Linus is hidden away. Youngster makes his way through as well, and it's a triple for him to top it all out.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful first 2 kills there from Youngster. Just as Fnatic find a gap, an exploitable top connector player in excl, Youngster answers immediately with the trade and doubling up so that Fnatic have to essentially keep accelerating. And they ran into TYLOO that was very ready to greet them as soon as he understood that there was pressure on short, turned his attention, and ripped heads clean off. 7th round for Heroic. So they've won the half, but who's to say it can't be more? Hades, an instant start, but there's the response from Fear.
Nice adjustment from Youngster.
Yeah, just an aggressive move from Blame to try and take space.
Bit of that desperation coming into it. Hades will be able to cover off connector over here as well. And with TYLOO, who's been boosted up, he actually moves past the incendiary. The smoke is still allowing him more space than not. And if Jambo isn't careful, if he throws a piece of utility, TYLOO's going to be ready for that fight. And that's the bomb.
This is such a big gap, though, in the CT defense. Something that they will consider, but probably not for the next 10 seconds. If this is a fast timing hit by Fear, he should blindside LNZ.
He will do so. The advantage they have is TYLOO is in a very good spot over here to still get a kill. I don't know if KRIMZ is ready for this one. Yes, he is. He's concerned about the boost, does manage to get the crossover, and Hades is slow on the rotate, so he can't actually cordon off market without using that utility. Youngster comes in from behind. Youngster's been a sharp hand, making up for where he was once missing, comes in with a lot of pressure, and although Hades falls, Youngster was a big kill that Jambo uses to secure the round, but it's not secure yet. It's a one-on-one. TYLOO has a kit, and Jambo takes the peak. He takes prerogative, but he can't take the head, and TYLOO's just the sleeping shark who keeps on progressing through the water, coming in for the backstab, but Jambo punches him right in the nose, sends him back swimming. Fnatic with 4.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful flank there from Youngster at first, but then Jambo answering with these 2 quick kills in defense of the bomb site. And just barely getting the sound cue he needs to activate. It's that flank from Fear that opens up this possibility, but that Passion duo able to deliver the goods and provide enough space where Fnatic can think about a 5th. Casmo's just ripped heads clean off in middle, and so has Blame and joined him in that pursuit.
I can happily say we've got a game on our hands.
They're very A-focused. I mean, a 2-man mid-floor setup from Heroic being sussed out in the opening 10 seconds. Fnatic will want to bleed the clock here. They'll know that Heroic have to make some kind of read, move, or call. Heroic are planting roots instead. Oh dear. If Jacasmo doesn't clear B earlier than his teammates take contact at A, this could be bad. Okay, Jacasmo's doing the right thing, sending it out towards this B bomb site. It's all clear, guys. Don't continue with this A side attack, and sure enough, they are sprinting through T spawn.
Well, picking up stragglers is important, but it's a long way back to B. 5th round felt pretty secure even with the first 2 kills, but with Fnatic now getting the plant in and this much distance between them and Heroic, it'll have to be a titanic effort to come through. Fair is playing it passive. Jambo picks up Youngster. Fair is going to be an insurance scheme for Jambo's potential demise, and Maybe that insurance might be needed, but they've got plenty more where that came from. Fnatic on 5. Like I said, Michael, I'm looking forward to that CT side.
Yeah, that second half is going to be pivotal for Fnatic. We've seen some good defenses so far from both of these squads. Here on Mirage, it is definitely a much closer scoreline than we've seen all series long. It comes down to the decider, of course. But a 7-5 is workable on both sides. Heroic will be pleased, though. They got what they wanted out of TYLOO. They got what they wanted out of Hades. You know, maybe some questions about where excl is and how much he can contribute, because it has largely been focused around those two on the Heroic side. Some flashes of Youngster. We saw that great round from LNZ. Fnatic are getting a little bit more of a spread activation, even if it's not necessarily always pretty. Oof. Yeah, they're certainly there.
That was pretty.
Yeah, but it ain't always.
I think the narrative of T-sides is obviously slightly put to bed, but we have to wake it up just a little bit. Heroic did struggle a lot. And Mirage, they can't afford to have that issue rise up again. Now, Youngster is obviously having a better game. TYLOO is much more activated, so is Hades, but excl is still kind of absent over here. Lynn is having a decent game, but the question marks will always come over here on the side of offense. Have you found the glue to keep your pieces together? Linus is hoping to break Jambo apart. But that solitary 1v1, it's not really gone well for him. He's still got the utility to deploy going into this B bomb site, but as Fair is going to let the entirety of the T's cross. It's finally a kill found, but it is at great expense. These CTs are low. The bomb is planted, and the Glocks at this range might have the advantage. blame's late activation is going to be an incredibly weak one as well. Jacasmo's the one with the smoke and the kit. He can't afford to go down over here, and Nilo's chancing it. Nilo and excl will wait out this smoke, but now they're worried about the spam. Great play from Jacasmo to force him into Jambo. The funnel has worked, but Linus from the back of the site activates. excl still alive. Linus with 2 more. He's done all he needs to, and blame that late lurk that was only supposed to be some sort of spanner in the works is instead going to be their last hope, one that is quickly snuffed out.
Yeah, sure enough, it's again the in-game leader and one of his riflers that pulls through on this T-side pistol. On Fnatic's, it was Fear and Blame, but for Heroic, it's excl and Linus. Minus a really big contribution there. And yeah, Fnatic really wanted to allow Blame to play first, perhaps, but there were so many smokes. They're running low on time, even if they did have that kit. So it will be a save here for Fnatic. Seen a trend of force buys that have been rather successful on the B stream today. Oh my god, they're lined up on short, but instead, Fnatic just get chewed up and spit out. Heroic, not a single casualty dealing with that save.
That's a tasty little morsel. Fnatic will not be able to afford up the Jambo op.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a shortfall. I was a bit worried for Heroic in that round, given how close everybody was shoulder to shoulder. Something that actually could punish them when they get into this gun round if that's not something that's fixed, if they are given that same level of space.
Now, some kind of missing firepower is still an issue for Fnatic. You'd really like to see KRIMZ and Jacasmo being able to turn things around on the CT side, where maybe the T side they weren't always asked upon. Had some great rounds from Blame and Jambo, even 1 or 2 fantastic kills from Fair to push them through to 5. This comeback isn't going to be a 2-pronged effort, though. Linus and excl want to close it down right here and now, and with Jambo on the ground, Jacasmo is the only defender of the A side. blameF's reinforcements are required, but they're pushed by some good flashbangs. Jacasmo caught with a molly underneath his feet, and Fnatic are falling apart faster than they were able to assemble. Blame, good for 1, but it's still a 2 versus 4. Blame's feeling desperate. He's still going for that quick foray, the little AD spam to see if he can take down the planter. But Fnatic don't have a choice. They don't have a chance either. They have to save.
Yeah, Heroic hitting the weakened site. I mean, it's 2 over on that A side. They find the kill top con, and you see from Jack Casmo's point of view, I mean, that's an impossible scenario. I don't care who you put in that spot. They're struggling. They have to deal with Palace, Ramp, they have to deal with connector pressure. They could be in jungle. Everything is compromised, and there's no one that can pick up the slack on Fnatic. No one that can provide any help. Jack Casmo was on an island and swarmed from all sides. And all it took was a simple kill top con, and the killer instinct to leap on that opportunity. So fairly straightforward looking Heroic T-side round. And that's their first proper gun round they've had to experience. Seen some of the force buys in this series look more contentious.
Speaking of those force buys, Fnatic haven't come through with the force, but they have invested slightly into this one. They realize that they are at a place where they need to give themselves a chance to get lucky at the very least. blameF, I think he might have spotted out excl, but more importantly, he sees LNC. Now repositioning back over, will be traced out by excl. Confirms that indeed excl's position was unknown in the chaos of it all. The T's have scaled into the B bomb site. Jambo, lonely as a defender, but that's not to say he won't do a good job. Fair hiding inside the smoke, comes in from behind. What a view, as it is Fnatic to be bringing it all together. They give themselves a chance, and it is fortune that favors them.
Yeah, I mean, they knew that rifle was fighting in for mid, and they just try to spring into this B bomb site, and they simply lose out on these duels. They don't expect Fear to be playing inside the smoke. Jambo was rotating after being very audible, full reloading on his swing. He should have been a dead man walking, but once he's allowed to establish a foothold in the back of the site, I mean, that seemed like the round was done from there on out. And then the kill that swung it back into Heroic's favor, but not to be. It's not exactly a full force, but that half buy for Fnatic does keep Heroic at bay. All about for both sides now. We were interested in that head-to-head coming into this map. Both have been delivering the goods. Jambo will have a chance to demonstrate how proficient he can be on this defense, much like Hades was.
I like what Fnatic are doing with the setup over here. KRIMZ is going to be ready for a very fast rotate, or to at least try and interrupt these lurkers. At the same time, Jacasmo, I mean, he's been given so much flexibility to try and just take that 1 versus 1 potentially versus a Palace lurker. I'm not sure if he wants to take the risk, but that was a possibility to consider. Flash has not come through. Heroic want to go for an earlier play at least to try and find that first fight. Hades completely outdoes Jambo. That head-to-head feeling a little bit clear, cut and dry. blameF also going to have a person coming in on his side. It is the excl Madness, who's now here, heard 2 players here, and he'll be happy to at least pick up sloppy seconds, even if Hades has taken away his initial point of prey. That setup has completely come undone. Hades making sure Jambo won't have the AWP again.
Yeah, not a chance that KRIMZ can go and retrieve that one. A little too far to cross. Fnatic are not looking good here on this second half. Heroic have found again more access to this A bomb site, but this time they had to go through many more members of Fnatic to get there. The result is the same, if not better. So having with more than they did in the last finish. KRIMZ was looking for that ult. Yeah, but it had already made a long pilgrimage to ramp. 2 more rounds, and Heroic are top 4 guaranteed.
It feels like they deserve it. And with the way they're playing right now, and this Hades story just continues to impress. Heroic have access to a pretty empty B bomb site because Fnatic have put all of their eggs into trying to crack through middle. Jambo's covering off The apartment's crossed and he will get the first kill for free. Hades now looks to cover. Jambo does not want to contest. I understand why. But watch out for TYLOO. He manages to clear out the mid floor. And suddenly Fnatic, who are getting aggressive in towards A main and planning for it, could end up falling to Youngster instead. Youngster's not got a smoke covering him off. Hades spots out a player going for a jump peek. Does Youngster dare get aggressive?
Might have to take that risk soon. If his teammates are going to start linking up through spawn to A, Youngster may have to be that first probe. Because if they aggro into ramp, Youngster's hand will certainly be forced.
blame's a difficult player to get the better of, though. And he's the one Youngster will have to deal with. Hades. Caught between angles, but he's so fast on the trigger. Youngster doesn't even look towards A main. He has full faith in Hades, and why wouldn't you after the game that he's been having? But Jambo, who struck true for the first kill of the round, will now come through with 2. He is still going to have to double that up. An AK-47 that he gazes upon will finally pick it up. A flash overhead, but that's not going to be blinding Hades. Nothing can stop Hades right now. He is 19-7. He knows that he hears the checks going off, but what he needs to hear is the defuse going off instead. Fair, unable to stick it out. TYLOO able to force him off. A molly on the ground and another peek needed. Fair will fall. 12 for Heroic.
That man advantage just wasn't enough leverage. I thought they'd done enough. But the attention that TYLOO drove just by throwing Molotovs, util into middle, creeping con, they turned their attention away from ramp for a moment, and just long enough that Hades can strike true. There is a wealth of excitement building here for Heroic.
A real demonstration of tongue flexibility out here, I've got to say.
Yeah, Linus was full sending it. 6 rounds to close. They already guarantee a playoff berth, but top 4 would be significant. Be the first time that this Heroic core, since the roster transition, has made it to a position like that under the new banner. The risk they took in picking up younger players, having their old roster sold.
Yeah. And Fnatic, they don't just want to be a footnote. KRIMZ comes through with a big triple. Jacasmo and Jambo. Quick little assisting pieces. And Heroic have to make sure that they don't get lost in a little tongue flexibility exercise is a bit too early. This is a good response from Fnatic. TYLOO is trying to keep them honest about it and to make sure they don't get away with too much money saved. And, well, he'll not really have much of a choice in the matter.
With as many big fish that there are in this tournament, Heroic really want to get this into that position. But Fnatic, you know, it's nice that they get spurred on for a little bit of aggression. KRIMZ, that 3K will disrupt, as it seems it's done enough to send players out of the server. Headsets off for TYLOO. Seems like his screen is actually just full black, in fact. So
That seems to be a pretty big technical issue, actually.
yeah, well, having to restart his game, restart his whole PC, it seems.
You know, I might be a pleb because I don't really understand monitor arms and stuff like that very much. But one of the cool things about the ones over here is, I don't know if you've seen, Michael, they've got like these little ruler notches, so you know exactly which notch you want to be on consistently. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm aware, these are like 610 hertz. They're CS branded as well. Don't know if you've seen that. On the base plate, you can see that S under Jambo's screen, but on the back, it also says Counter-Strike or has the logo.
One day,
I couldn't
man.
quite believe that, you know. I love what Perfect World do with their branding. They're on point with it. How many other tournaments would you see that they would have had branding for a whole different tournament with brand new chairs.
They got cute little mascots as well, most importantly. We all know that's what matters, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
That's what Counter-Strike's all about, charms and mascots. I do love it, though. What is going to be curious for me over here is, you know, Heroic, obviously, we're projecting to see them go into the top 4 and whatnot as well, but it's also about how they do from there. It's not just about, hey, into top 4. And they can't really afford to let Fnatic put them in a position where they're shaken, right? Because you do need to make this a convincing win to get over the fact that your second map was as abysmal as it was. You do want to make sure Fnatic don't like get to double digits or even to 9 rounds or so in an ideal world. Because that confidence is going to be key.
Yeah, most certainly. And I think most people will look at this Heroic team and they'll see the disappointment and them not making the major, but they did win a trophy previously at, what was it, Mesa, but that feels like quite some time ago now. The struggles that they've encountered coming away from that last season into this one have been apparent. So yeah, confidence would be a nice building block for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially, I have to say it, especially for players like Hades, really, because he's not even, bro, ain't even on the squad, and he's putting up great numbers for them. If anybody's looking for an offer, currently that ex-Inner Circle roster is experiencing a couple of players actually standing in. Krasnal was also standing in at this event, which is funny to see that 2 players were called to action for different teams. They even played each other in the first round in this tournament.
I've actually got a source at the tournament who's told me that Hades and Krasnal, they've been getting together and having these conversations, and what they seem to be doing, they just keep on practicing their signature over and over again so it can look pretty on all the contracts that they're about to get after this tournament.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just a source,
I wish the players would put that much effort into their signatures for the major stickers. It feels like now we're starting to do it because we're required to.
Well, they usually just hire designers for that. So.
Yeah, otherwise they outsource that. And even still, from my understanding, some players still outsource it, but then they have to like practice what the designers come up with.
Oh man,
they just want pretty stickers. They don't trust themselves. They've got great hand-eye coordination for their mice, but once there's a pen in there, it's a whole different game.
What player do you think would have the best handwriting?
Ooh.
It's a fun one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's hard. Because I want to say Alexi.
I could see that.
But I feel like I've seen his signature and I'm not convinced. So, yeah, it's a hard conversation to have. It'll be someone you don't expect, to be quite honest. It's likely to be like a support player or, you know what? Honestly, Blitz.
Oh, actually, that's true. I could see that. But I actually think, as far as handwriting is concerned, I'm going to go for something a little bit vanilla, but I'm going to give my logic and reasoning behind it, right? I think ZywOo would actually end up having good handwriting, and I've got good reasoning behind it. And I'm going to approach it from 2 angles. One, dude, the guy turned down offers from J2 and Vitality for ages just so he could stay in school longer. This is clearly a guy who enjoyed being in school, okay? So I'm going to give him some props for that one. And the other thing is, he's in like a, born in like a rural French town, very artsy environment around him, got fields and this and that. If I can imagine anyone like, handwriting letters to their grandmothers or whatever, maybe to relatives across to the big city life of Paris, I could see ZywOo being one of those players.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with that. I appreciate your reasoning, and I will agree.
Now, if you want to talk about worse handwriting, baby, I'm going to have a conversation with Donk right now. That boy had not been looking at any notebooks. He's been playing too much Counter-Strike.
Yeah, he really knows how to click heads, but
like
whatever you do, don't try and get him to like swap his mouse to one of those track pads that the OSU players use. Because I guarantee those guys are probably solid penmanship. They seem to be trained to do it.
You know what would be even funnier? Don can probably like spray down his handwriting better than he can write it with a pen.
Yeah. I actually would trust them to do that.
Gosh.
Well, I thought this would be a simple enough fix. Nylo's
Just turn the monitor back on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well, they did that, but somehow other things are still not working. It seems like Linus now has issues.
Oh, no.
Was this like in solidarity somehow? Nylo's looking at his screen. He's in the server. I see it.
Hades is the one who's clearly a stand, and he just gets up and leaves. Like, you know what? I can't put up with these guys.
Well, if there was a time to move to another part of the room, it would be now.
Yeah, of course. One of the cool things that I do find, and look, I know it's just hotel rooms, but it's just kind of fun to be that, you know, you've all got your own like little art pieces and everything around you, right? You know, so if you're just having a rage moment, KRIMZ is just thinking, oh my God, I miss Cypher. I mean, he's probably not going to be thinking that, but KRIMZ is theoretically thinking, oh my God, he can just look to his left and be zen. Beautiful paintings.
Yeah, look at some random painting that has been plastered, I'm sure, in many different rooms across the hotel as well. I did enjoy seeing players screaming through the walls. You know, I think we were looking at that pain game versus Fluxo. You just did see Snow not take off his headset, but pull off an ear cup and just start screaming through the wall at them.
It's funny because it reminds me of like older times in esports, and obviously everyone knows about like LAN cafes and everything, right? But if you actually go back and you watch the documentary on Dota's first international, Dota's like sort of the gold standard of soundproof boothing, right? Because everyone's like, oh my God, they're in soundproof booths and everything. But if you go back to TI1, the players were in a booth and it was soundproof, but they were both in the same booth. So they were on opposite sides. And what happened was, you know, people like Dandy and whatnot on Nave who ended up winning that, they just punched the desk hard enough that the desk would slam into the wall and the entire booth would vibrate every time they got a kill or something. So yeah, that was fun. Of course, just a reminder, by the way, guys, you can pick up your PGL tickets as well. We obviously have that QR code flash on screen. Astana is going to be fantastic. This time the prize money is going to be even bigger, and you should be going there. It's going to be, it's also, by the way, just a heads up, with all these tournaments happening in Europe and whatnot, this is a concern for me, which is why I'm thinking of going to Astana as well. It's probably just going to be like a cheaper city to visit and everything as well, in terms of in comparison to, you know, maybe one of these big German cities or Dutch cities or whatever. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Good to maybe shave out some days in your calendar for that.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly see the justification. I do find it funny though, you know, just for you especially, because, you know, you've been in the Asia region for a lot of your following of Counter-Strike. And you haven't always necessarily had events that you can go to. This is the year where there's just a lot of Asian events, especially towards the end of the calendar year. And you're thinking about going to Europe to go to a European tournament. If there was ever a time for you, especially...
Kazakhstan isn't European.
I'm not saying you're European. I'm saying...
No, but Kazakhstan is Asian. I'm going to be going to the Asian tournament.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But like, this is the year that you should be going to all these Asian tournaments.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, Astana is... Okay, I mean, it's not in Europe, but I mean, it's the
western side of Asia.
It's the western side of Asia. Yeah.
That's fair. But you know, let me introduce you. Let me introduce everyone who's tuning in right now. You know what? Maybe there's like 5 of you who can relate to what I'm about to say. Have you heard of a passport index?
Yeah, well,
because I ain't looking good out there. Okay, visas be kind of hard.
That is fair.
And you know, as much as I love being in China and everything, things can get tricky, right?
Oh, it's a process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process. And you know, I was just to sort of share a funny little story that happened behind this. Obviously, Michael and I were in China for a tournament earlier on. It was awesome. Being there was fantastic and everything. But one of the weird senses of Schadenfreude, and not really Schadenfreude, but like one of the weird, ironic laughs that I got was when Michael messaged me saying, "Man, this is the first time I'm having to worry about a visa."
Yeah, no, that was true. Yeah, there's a lot of liberties, you know, with all the events in Europe. Typically, it can be very quick to turn around for people that live in this side of the world. To be honest, with the visa issues happening in China, I kind of wasn't surprised to see it. I guess I was more surprised at how quick they found replacements. To be quite frank. Because yeah, it is a bit of a process. It can't get fast tracked. Seems like most people are having a good time under Perfect World supervision, and rather not supervision. That's the wrong word. Under their hosting of the tournament, There's very few things to dislike, especially when you're in cities like Shanghai.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be an arduous process. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, as with many things.
Yeah. I mean, look at Hades. Hades has been standing in so much, he just keeps on getting better at it.
Yeah. Maybe prone to the JKS effect soon.
Hey, who knows? Let's see whether or not he can actually make it happen. I see high fives. I see monitors turned on. I see admins and referees out of the room.
Yeah, timer is now elapsing, and we should be able to dive right back in. Let's just refamiliarize ourselves. It is the Decider map. Their map in the series. Both the first and the second were utter blowouts. The teams that picked them lost those maps quite handily, and it comes down to this final map in Mirage, where Heroic are in a lead and have the ability to close out the game. They have 5 more attempts at it. 13-7 was the scoreline we last left off on, and Linus's CS has crashed, so it's...
Right. So, passports, okay?
no, let's move past that.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to just be kind of settling in.
Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Yeah.
I have to say,
It is a cool addition to the calendar, though, that we are having so many more tournaments in China, and it does feel like more and more of these tournaments are going to be some of the bigger ones of the year. I mean, obviously China brings in the possibility to have group stage audiences and everything as well. I'm sure that's something that, you know, in the future will be explored more so as well. Shanghai Major was what showed that off last year via Perfect World. But for now, both of these teams are guaranteed an audience in the Shanghai Oriental Sports Center on this weekend. Who will get the Saturday affair? Guaranteed to them. 12-7, Heroic wanting to close, Fnatic wanting to claw back this lead.
Up tempo here for Hades down towards the underpass. Will not be a concerted effort to fight for a top mid control. Will throw some utility at least to try and disrupt any early plans Heroic may have. But they're slowly making their way down under. KRIMZ is still being quite aggro off of short, and the longer he sticks around, the more he is at risk of being found by that underpass lurk. But there's no spring in the step of Heroic. No urgency to close this map just yet. It's very quiet across the map, and in a way that can be an issue that Fnatic will have to deal with in some way. They won't want to fly blind, not when there's this much at stake.
Deep contrast to the previous round, which you might have forgotten, but KRIMZ did just run up middle with company, get 3 kills. If they want to try and make this late round work, both teams will be in slightly unfamiliar waters. Time is now turning on its head. CTs are the ones who will be feeling a bit more comfortable. Blame will plant himself inside the connector. I'll to come in from the side, and one of these players is Jambo eliminated. He should be expecting Blame, and he does, but not quite the right position. It's a B-side execute with the A fake not having worked. They have to go through a Molotov, and KRIMZ continues to impress in the last dying embers of Fnatic's hopes. He is the wind that is trying to bring them a light.
Yeah, back-to-back 3Ks from KRIMZ. He got the openers in the round prior, a long time ago, but this time locking down the bomb site by finding 3 again. Tactical pulls pulled out here by Heroic. Not sure that they're going to really compose anything in this round, but they just want to try and set the ship straight. Really did feel like there was going to be a timing to hit there for Heroic, especially with blameF exchanging places inside of that smoke with Milo. It's all's well that ends well. So another one, 20 kills. Hades on 19. Those have really been the 2 heavy hitters for Heroic that have been consistent throughout this series.
Yeah. Youngster did have his fair share of performances in the first half, less so in the second. Heroic right now, well, They will be consigning themselves to letting this one go by pretty much for free. A possible play out towards B isn't going to be giving them much, especially when KRIMZ is just shooting them through a wall. KRIMZ's resurgence is maybe going to end up being a problem.
And no real threats. And no one on Fnatic really breaking rank just to hunt down these ecos either. Still playing a very contained game. No over-aggression, no overconfidence. They know that they're in those playoffs, but buckling down and trying to make this comeback happen, that type of tenacity could prove to be useful if they can demonstrate they have the capacity for it when they get to those playoffs. Cosmo. While he takes a dink, he does have the loving arms of blameF to fall back into. 3 more rounds of separation that Fnatic hope to close.
We've gotten to the realm of possibility now. This gun round is where Heroic feel probably a fair amount of pressure on them, because should they fail over here, Fnatic will get to 11. At least on paper.
Yeah, there will be a couple beads of sweat for Heroic. You know, the game's not over until it's finished.
Almost Jumbo is actually putting himself in connector to see if he can find anyone before the smoke's bloom. It goes past the top guard smoker with KRIMZ finding another kill as well. Heroic have already had their offense fall apart. They are now relying on single-man efforts to bring themselves back in. Who better to try and go for those than blameF, who's just playing it passively. He knows his job of his singular. It is to stay alive and to keep them from getting inside window. Jambo and company will do everything else they need. It is 5 alive once again for Fnatic. This CT side is looking promising now, Michael.
Yeah, suddenly it's bolstered. I don't know what's happened, but since that one round of aggression top middle and the tech, suddenly Heroic just simply cannot find the kills thereafter. Perfect read on the situation there from Fnatic as well. No Blame's positioning was great. Even Jambo as well covering that top side of connector. The only ways back into that round were eliminated rather swiftly. That will come down to the last round of regulation, most likely. This half buy from Heroic. Postured for a B-side pop.
Fnatic can't afford to lose over here. Fnatic can't afford to let this be how they let a golden opportunity pass by for a big comeback. But now, as the scale has come through, KRIMZ again and again consistently finding critical kills in these difficult spots. He's now gotten 2, and Blame alive at the back of the bomb side cannot parallel that scoreline. KRIMZ is instead calling in Jambo for assistance, and then it's Shakazma who's asked to close, but excl in a 1 versus 2 where he's going for the around the world. Picks up
a weapon.
AK comes back over, smoke to try and force KRIMZ backwards, and make it feel like he could still be lurking in from behind it, and that is going to be the route he elects for.
The longer they wait, the more they have to consider. Markets open, could go back to apps from underpass. Fnatic playing inside of the site will feel worse and worse as time plays on.
That's what excl is relying on. KRIMZ to cover. 3 kills so far. How many more does he have in him? Jambo peeks out. excl, he had an option of making this into a 1v1 versus a very weakened player. Instead, with position revealed, all advantages lost. Double swing plan for Fnatic. Whenever excl continues to get them more, KRIMZ puts himself in harm's way. It is back to ye old faithful, the Deagle with which he started it all, but 8 seconds is simply not enough. A quick kill on KRIMZ, that was a low player. excl closes the distance, but he cannot close the gap. Fnatic find 11 off the back of KRIMZ, delivering a heroic performance.
Yeah, I mean, so many triple kills here for KRIMZ. I mean, he came into the CT side, kind of a weak piece, actually, for Fnatic, and just like that, he's found himself with 11 kills in these past few rounds. 3 triple kills in 5. So just like that, we're starting to think about the prospect of overtime. There's no AWP here for Heroic to rely upon. Hades has been a heavy hitter, but Fnatic are looking empowered to have this game go the distance. Won't make any sudden moves. KRIMZ is feeling so emboldened, in fact. He has that secondary AWP out once again. Boarded out on Dust2. But they may not want to go to that B-bomb site, so he's just locking it down with that AWP holding a tight line. So the rest of the team can play more floating towards mid and A.
If Heroic were sweating before, they are flooded in fear. And as they go onto the reinforced bomb site, you're also just seeing that backstab planned out by Jacasmo. Jambo finds number 1, and Youngster simply can't trace out any of these duels. Hades the only one to get a kill, and I don't think it's going to be any better than that. blameF still hidden away. Youngster is going to be traced out by him. Seldom loses these duels, and Hades has to try and go for a 1v5. He's making a play for it. But on the other side, it's a big 2 of Fnatic. Blame manages to get the jump. Fnatic with 6 straight rounds facing down a colossal lead. It is KRIMZ who performs.
It simply had to be. I mean, one-sided showings on the first 2 maps in the series. This had to be a closer game, and sure enough, overtime is what's needed to finish off the series. This is for seeding. I guarantee it a higher prize purse, a deeper position in those playoffs. And while it looked like Heroic might have been able to seal the deal, suddenly, it's that man that was missing from Frag October. It's that veteran that has worn the bright orange the longest. It's KRIMZ that shows up in a massive way.
I mean, 2-time major winner, 3-time top 10 player of the world, 5-time top 20. You don't count these kind of guys out.
I fucking go with Big Bro. I love it, Big Bro. Just live.
There's a reason why Fnatic have kept him for so long, and there's been criticism, and I've been one of the people criticizing.
Yeah.
I've been one of those voices. But how can you not love the magic when the wand is waved? But they might need more than magic. The Crows. They might need might, and that's what blameF provides. An opener heading into round number 25.
It's basically for free. I mean, past the spam on the window smoke and top mid. Catches Hades completely. Opportunity to counter a lot of util out towards the bottom of connector. Nilo dodging a lot of the damage. The Jambo's position inside of ladder. Nilo will oblige with a peek.
How often is it you see an AWP in a position like that?
Yeah, not very often at all.
Flames just getting kills for free. They're actually so free, he's giving them away to Jacasmo instead.
Heroic are getting suffocated on this T side. Anytime they look to take control, they are losing members. Anytime they've split or attacked a bomb site, they have struggled to trade. Fnatic were encountering issues too on that T side, let's not forget. That's how you end up in situations like this, but I think Fnatic have been, or have had, far more clean rounds than Heroic ever had on that CT side. Has really been feast or famine for really both of these squads this whole series. And this is where you would favor teams like Fnatic, players like Blame, like KRIMZ, those veterans that Heroic simply don't have. It's a team largely filled up of rookies that have risen through those ranks enough to justify being able to represent this heroic banner.
Yeah. And sometimes risen rookies isn't enough. Jambo, however, on the other side, has done well to stay neck to neck with his veterans. Youngster now comes in. The missing link. The star who is just not shining. Between him and excl, those are supposed to be the players who help you wake up at a time like this, and maybe they are going to be able to serve that purpose. The today's side hit. That has gone swimmingly well for Heroic.
This time it's a slow strangulation. They find the picks they need, and even if they're not necessarily the most explosive getting into that A play, they are able to cover for one another. Blame was the only one that really could have served a purpose to get kills back. He caught good timing on that smoke. Only for Hades to drop him. Now, given that this is the OT, KRIMZ may as well give this a look in. If Heroic lower their guard and don't serve to protect this bomb, could be in for a bad time. HE actually lands at KRIMZ's feet, and as he tries to slide out, Nilo ain't falling for any of those tricks.
Terrorists win.
Heroic at bare minimum. Fnatic looked fine on their T side. They didn't look awful. But that was always the place where they had more questions. Even over here, the way they've gotten kills, it has felt like, hey, KRIMZ has taken some of these early round calls into his own hands. KRIMZ has taken some of these late round moments definitely into his own hands. I don't know if that transitions through to their T side. So for them, it is important to double up here. Speaking of doubling up, it's over in Palace. Youngster is going to be given a chance over here. Misses out the first kill, and that's where KRIMZ uses that as bait. Nilo as well. Heads given up, but not found. Jambo, backstab with the AWP. Why not pull out the knife? And it's Nilo and excl to already find two. Jambo misses his shot. He's missed it. He's absolutely fluffed it. And Fnatic, in this 2 versus 3, put their hopes on blame and their questions on fear. That question unanswered. Hades will put him to bed, and blame will go out into what he thought was still open territory and finds it is closed off just like the rest of this round.
I mean, what do you even say? Blame is an unwinnable position. He will get finished off. It's 2 rounds for Heroic, and they'll be pleased with that. It was a struggle to get engaged on this T side, and suddenly they're able to navigate out with a couple, 2 out of 3. But what on earth happened in this round? I mean, KRIMZ, the secondary ult, picking into Palace of all things. He gets his, and then it's a Jambo smoke play inside of it. He had a 5-7, and they switched back to the AWP. I don't know what to say. These are very, very confusing times for Fnatic. But they at least got one on that CT side. They at least made it to the OT in the first place. Oh, it wasn't a 5-7, it was a deagle. Yeah, the first miss really set Heroic off.
You can see how nervous they still look.
Yeah.
Even in their round win.
I mean, this is a proving moment for them. I mean, getting into that top 4, getting past a team like Fnatic, should they encounter them again in those playoffs, you can reflect on a game like this. I mean, if it has it. Even if it has had its high highs and low lows.
Youngster gets a full exploration of A main out. Early. This doesn't necessarily end up being a good thing. It's about how they work off of this, because Youngster will have to give that up eventually. If he stays here long enough, he will be given an audible. Jambo doesn't want to clear this out alone, not with the bomb. He hears that balance play and he catches Jagasmo with a flash in his hand. Youngster finds a critical opener and then moves back. TYLOO in the meanwhile hopes to use this chaos. A refresh on the smoke will give TYLOO some more space. And Jambo, who's trying to trace out Youngster, is unable to activate. excl waits for fear and company. He's going to have a flash in his hand. He turns around. How are they blind? How are they blind? Hades finds a way to fight back, and Heroic are going to be 2 kills away from another match point. Jambo and KRIMZ still alive, still more than capable of getting this round back into control. Can they find a kill? An incendiary on a Jambo forces him off. He will die to the M4 of Youngster. KRIMZ, another 3k needed. So many triples he has delivered. And now with the LNZ weak, but he's been spotted. KRIMZ good for one. Repositions very quickly. Hades a shot miss. An HE deployed, and it's TYLOO to close. Every round more chaotic than the last, but Heroic will thrive in the uncertainty.
These timings are so perplexing. They're so strange. I mean, they're phasing the smoke. They're starting to creep up Con at the perfect moment, only for KRIMZ to throw a flash over to jungle that blinds his teammates, blinds up Heroic as well, but it adds to this level of confusion just before the hit. Fnatic were hoping to capitalize on the timing, but it seemed like a miscommunication about whether or not players had to dodge or what the next steps were. No clear direction. And when it comes down to small margins like that, they can stack up. It allows Heroic another set of opportunities to close out this map. They were at 12-6 previously, only for Fnatic to come back.
That T-side curse, man.
Yeah, the T side might be the undoing here for Fnatic. It's a burst to B. They'll have to try it. LNZ getting that smoke down defensively, and Hades is able to pick one off before the hit even gets going.
Oh, Jambo and blameF get perfect responses. LNZ's not expected, but they still clear it out. Jambo is diligent. Fnatic will the full execute. They'll turn their brains off and their hands on. They will only listen to the call, and it has worked out perfectly. Sure, they'll lose that first man, but Jambo, is he the Cypher replacement we were looking for all along?
Yeah, that's a good question. Many players that seem to be taking that responsibility here for Fnatic. And that triple entry from Jambo was devastating. Fnatic will move to 14, but it comes off of a real Hail Mary into that site. Kind of surprised LNZ didn't try and make a play or take a timing, because his teammates were out. They were looking to reinforce, and even if he lost all that support, Jambo had to clear within the site at some point. Like, LNZ shouldn't be trying for that kill, really. He should be trying for the ones afterwards.
Heroic really don't want to set it overtime.
That was how Hades got the first kill. KRIMZ was walking into the line of fire. Smoke hadn't bloomed yet.
He can't be perfect every time, you know?
Yeah, it just seems like the utility and the play to be made is a little off. The timing seemed a little off. I think that can't be refined ahead of those playoffs. They were both ready for that.
And Hades comes out on top, the head-to-head. As much as Jambo has been having his time to shine, Hades has steadily been picking up numbers 27 and 16 now. If they didn't have enough to tank him for already, a chance to close over here with a 5v4 would be another, but the problem is blame, as it also often is. He's coming from behind. It's going to be trying to plug the B site, and with 4 players on A, you'd really expect someone to be worried about this. LNZ even goes for a straight check, but it's going to be... How does he win that duel? He wasn't ready for it either, and now KRIMZ with the bomb feels like he's had his one hope taken away from him. He has to fight for his chances instead. Molotov and grenade will be exchanged. The grenade is just better. KRIMZ's already low. excl finishes him off. 2 versus 2 though. Jacasmo and Fear will fight back, and they will fight hard. Jacasmo now nestles himself inside the cubby of Get Right. And Fnatic felt like this was gone. Instead, Youngster feels like he's got nowhere to go. Clock is ticking down, and the bomb, I mean, they're faking it out. They're worried, they're concerned about even a wrap from the back. They know Youngster likes to play A. They know he likes to push out at times. Will Youngster check this hard corner? He's not even thinking about it, not for a second. Jacasmo now delivers a triple Fnatic. I don't know who or what they have been giving offerings to, but these heroic triple kills from KRIMZ, twice over, Jambo, and now Jacasmo have put them into a second overtime.
It has absolutely saved their hide. It has saved their behinds from making the comeback in the first place to pushing to another overtime. They have needed that extra mileage out of those riflers, and by God, are they getting it. You even saw Jacasmo's reaction after finally converting on the round. It just seemed like he was thankful he was able to even contribute in a meaningful way. He's had a bit of a rough game, even moving into that OT, but finally able to have a very, very meaningful contribution. Someone had to send help. Someone had to back up LNZ when he did more than what he was supposed to on side of that site. But there was just a lack of urgency there for Heroic, one that Jacasmo fully exploits. And so we go again. Stomps at the start of the series. Just absolute stomps. And now a nail-biter finish.
They've got to make sure that the total average round count for the series still stays good.
Yeah.
What is he doing in this angle? He almost gets 2, and Fnatic, who are trying to accelerate forward into connector, will still find advantages. I don't know how that's gone wrong for Heroic. They're gonna have some thinking to do, but right now is not the time for thought, it's the time for action. blameF is low. And as he isn't cleared for TYLOO, expects him to be closer than he is. Still remember, he's got the bomb. He can't relay it over. They need to take this fight. The flashes are good to try and take that problem away from them. But KRIMZ now settles himself in the one angle line as doesn't check. The chaos won't stop.
Yeah, first round cleared here for Fnatic. They go for a completely different type of mid-take. They don't throw as much utility. They start creeping con, and if the Heroic aren't going to express any intent on challenging, they're going to make use of that extra space. And sure, they get shot in the back by Hades on that orb, but only being able to get that one, they would have almost certainly wanted a rifle. Both teams changing up how they're approaching both the offense and the defense. And maybe at the worst time.
He's had a chance for 2 over there as well. That's the worst part of it. But a break on the smoke and a full wide swing from excl. He's found a solitary blameF.
Yeah, that's a nice way to punish them trying to take that fast con timing. They've pushed over towards A as well here on the side of Heroic, so a counter action if they've lost a bit of extra presence in middle should be to try and find space elsewhere.
What?
KRIMZ does get his kill, but TYLOO trades immediately. Oh, they won't know about the flank. They'll have no idea. Where would it have even come from? They still had KRIMZ on the lurk. Wait, Jambo's considering it.
He's done this before. That's why Jambo's concerned. They know that Youngster wasn't either the player dying or the player getting the kill on the bomb side, and he plays A.
Yeah, true.
Now, somehow, Heroic are making the right call. They're expecting Fnatic to rotate despite the utility being thrown out by Jambo. Jambo will even get the kill. And TYLOO at this point, he knows, I can't help in B. Maybe I just try and stick it to them. in this 1 versus 3. He sees the bomb, he's dropped the bomb, he switches for the AK, looking for space, wants to take the deal before the op can get hit, and now it's going to be his chance, but not one that he gets to put to use. Another triple for Fnatic. How do they keep doing it?
Yeah, it's a roulette wheel, it seems like, for each of the members of Fnatic to find themselves their hands on a triple. This time it's Jambo. And sure enough, Heroic are getting brutalized. Where they'd found 2 rounds on that T side, Fnatic have answered with now 4 straight. These are challenging times.
Heroic have had their chances, but man, if I was in their position, I would feel slightly robbed. Fnatic are trying really hard to just get out with the bag of 4th place and never look back. An A site execute is how they hope to cap out a perfect overtime. But can Heroic play a spoiler? An early grenade will keep Jambo low. Youngster picks up his 1, and there's more pushes through the smoke, but those are punished as well. excl comes through, goes down into Sandwich, and he's going to be found by Blame. Heroic are not going to be able to do anything to prevent the bomb from being planted. TYLOO a spam through, but it's that break in the smoke that maybe could have been exploited. Instead, it doesn't fully clear it out, and Linus, his demise means Fnatic are going to get 18 to 15, surely. Going into the CT side, surely Fnatic can finally close this.
Yeah, I just don't think that Heroic will have the tenacity that Fnatic have expressed so far in this map. I mean, how many times did we see Fnatic remain measured in their approach on their comeback? We never saw them go in with extreme urgency. There wasn't panic to try and catch themselves back up into these rounds. Where Heroic were trailing on the trades, it felt like we were seeing more and more desperate reactions to try and bring themselves back, especially in this last bout of overtimes. Fnatic were finding those advantages, and Heroic were taking big risks, and they simply were not paying off here on Mirage. And so you'd have to think that that's enough now for Fnatic. They have a greater wealth of experience. They have that Passion UA core, but they also have these 2 studs and veterans in KRIMZ and blameF that have been shouldering a lot of the burden, but the other teammates are contributing in a massive way. Jambo, most notably. This is where I do think the well runs dry for Heroic.
Yeah. They will feel robbed. They're up 12 to 6. They've had 7 different match points that they've been unable to capitalize on. Many advantages. But maybe it's Fnatic's time to struggle to put a lid on this little cookie jar that has been open for maybe too long. KRIMZ has gone to that secondary op more than once before. And this time he won't find the same success as in the past. Linus scrolls out wide, takes down his heroes, and he will be looking to chomp down on Fear, who's been pushed forward. excl ready, receives information, a grenade to Fear's bottom. And excl is still hunting for a kill to be found onto blameF. Potentially he knows Blame likes to play that late round window lurk, and when Fear hasn't given over information, excl has every advantage now to stop rotations as well. Heroic might be wanting for tenacity, but what they won't need is more firepower in this round. The first kill from Linus, that's bad enough, but then excl showing up, and they're still in this.
Yeah, I mean, there was basically no way that they could feasibly get themselves back into the bomb site. They were really trusting that KRIMZ could lock it down with that AWP. We saw him pull it out in regulation to keep them in the game and actually allow for a more A-side and mid-focused attention for Fnatic. But we never saw the ult actually tested. You know, remember, that came after KRIMZ had effectively had back-to-back triple kills and had locked them out of the B bomb site more than once. So that's the first time that that secondary AWP inside of the B bomb site is revealed necessarily. The only time that KRIMZ pulled it out and found success was when he pushed Palace. So it's a sign of life for Heroic. One that I don't imagine Fnatic will try again, if I'm being honest. I have to keep KRIMZ on rifles.
He's done a very good job with them. That much is for sure. God, looking at those score lines from the first two maps that are shown in the beginning of every round, it's hard to believe we're still in the same matchup.
They just love the best of one so much. They brought it back. Well, we're going to have to see 2 more rounds straight here for Heroic if we want another overtime. They want even a chance to close out on the map that they held such a significant lead on. They will be disheveled. They will be annoyed that they're even in this OT. But they're getting extra repetitions. Let's look on the bright side.
Yeah,
I think they'd rather the win.
Gotta get used to the LAN environment, I guess. Nothing helps more than reps. Playing, that's a great start to the round, but he'll be losing Jacasmo immediately after. Jacasmo was the player who threw out the grenade to pop open the smoke. Now KRIMZ with the right foot, can he do better than he did with the AWP? Yes, he can. It's a kill and a half with a dink on the Youngster to help out as well, but Youngster still scales onto the side, and Jambo a rare miss. That gives Youngster a chance to take his head clean off. It's the airborne guillotine, but blameF plants his feet firmly in the ground over here on B. Hades Tech 9 has to do the job. excl is nowhere nearby. He closes the distance, and he'll be able to get the bomb plant in as well. Decides against it. They want to go out to A. They want to have every insurance policy available to them. And for Fnatic, it's the one player who has yet to give them a big multi-frag performance in overtime or regulation. It's the one player who individually has been struggling because his mind has been his main muscle. Can Fear complete the multi-kill clutches team ace situation? Doesn't feel like it. Hades has him covered off. What in the world was that second shot from Youngster?
Yeah, that was beautiful. I mean, purely robotic. He gets given a new lease on life with a missed shot from Jambo, and he just plucks him straight out of his air as he tried to find some safety, some sanctuary on short. But he gets an entry. He takes a lot of damage. And there just simply was enough of a bailout. excl clearing a path to A so that they can get that 2-on-1, but there was no chance for Fear. 2 different miracles here for Heroic. That Linus entry, and this time, the marvel of Youngster. Will it be a third time's the charm?
Fnatic at this point don't know if they can actually close. At this point, they're starting to realize that the way they got this far was off the back of individual greatness. And that doesn't rear its head every single round. Self-doubts that are creeping in. blameF peeks out in the middle. Hades quick to punish. excl watches for the boost. Will do the same. And Hades is ready for response. He is so trained in. Jacasmo eliminated. And Fnatic 3 whole tries to close this. 3 whole attempts to take it to overtime. And it feels like they have absolutely failed it. Jambo left alone. An impossible round and some great shots to feature in his death reel. But that's not enough. It's overtime number 3.
As if. I thought for sure that would be enough for Fnatic. 3 straight on their T-side effort, and then they get 3 chances at the defense where they have been better so far on this Mirage. They had very convincing shutouts on the road to the overtime, but they can't get a single one of them to fold their way. I don't know how to describe this game. It has been so push and pull. It's anything you can do, I can do as well, but neither has shown that they can do it better. It's total gridlock.
Does feel like the perfect way to gap out a 13-2, 13-3 on your opponent's map pick situation. I won't lie to you, Michael. KRIMZ
And I know we're trying to set these stakes as, you know, top 4 versus top 6 as a guarantee. But if it was life on the line, I don't know if I'd want to be these players. I think that's one of the things that is making this even more turbulent, is that we're not seeing that sort of mounting, building pressure. Everyone seems pretty relaxed, actually, from both sides. They're still annoyed. They're still excited. But we're not seeing the trough. You know, we're not seeing them dive into despair. Because they've both had a very impressive run already here at CAC. They've already done the hard part. This is about extra security, extra money as well, extra prize money that they'll set themselves as a guarantee. The VRS will certainly help, but the implications won't be felt until many weeks after.
The thing is, Michael, whichever team ends up having to walk out tomorrow into the Shanghai Oriental Sports Center, that's an arena with potentially like 15 to 18,000 fans that are going to be showing up. These are IGLs who are not used to that kind of pressure. These are teams who are not used to that kind of pressure. blameF and KRIMZ, I'll give them that much. You know what? They've been there. They've braved those heights. But for Heroic, outside of Hades, for Fnatic, for the 3 Ukrainians, this might as well be a playoff elimination game in a lot of ways. I don't think a lot of these guys are going to be expecting to go further without a big upset. This is your best possible chance.
Yeah, that experience will be valuable. It'll help in their campaigns, whether that's to make it to other tournaments within this season or the season to come, whether that's in their campaign at the major. It will help. You know, I think both teams are going to be... I think both are satisfied. I would say, you know, as much as I want to dive into drama, I almost can't overinflate this. Both will be satisfied. They've got their own reasons and they've got their own excuses for why they could underperform, why they could let a game like this go. They've both shown great tenacity, great ability to either establish leads or fight back from a deficit. It's kind of had it all, to be quite honest. And they haven't... It was, you know, compare this to our first series of the day here on the B stream. That game with FUT and Pain, where there were so many force buys. It was cinema for all the wrong reasons. I think there's a lot of good and a lot of positives to draw on for both of these squads. And there's still things to work on. But all that they want right now is to close this game. What is immediately in front of them is the objective. A third round of overtime is what's needed. Oh. And Hades is still striking true with this ult.
Every time it feels like Hades might be having a slight slump, every time it feels like maybe he's had enough contributions, Hades comes through with a new angle, with a new opening pick attempt, with a new point of success. You might be trailing behind Jambo in terms of kills, but this round could be the remedy. Head-to-heads, Hades wins that for sure. Chicasmo turns away, and that's the wrong place. That wasn't a flashbang coming through, buddy. excl's able to put that to good use. Clears out Chicasmo. You're now in a 5v3. Fnatic are not going to be able to change their fate coming out of that overtime break. they saving? Well, they're trying to.
Oh my, why does Blame not have a kit? Because he could just, if he just deals with this player at ramp, he actually could defuse the bomb if he had a kit.
Is there
There
a
would
kit
be one
on
on
the
site. There would be, but it's too far away. Oh, I'm not sure I understand.
It's a 10k overtime. That's the issue. You have to be slightly more conservative. You won't even be able to pick up the AWP at the end of it.
I'm so confused. I'm at a loss for... I try to sympathize with the players and their thought process. He wanted to get his hands on that AWP, fine. But he stays too long. Doesn't create a chance for him to leave. And so he just dies empty-handed anyway. I'm at a loss for words, really.
I hope that Fnatic aren't. They've come into it when one kit again. This time a little bit more suitable. You can see where their money is. If they lose this round as well with all of their players dying, they're not feeling good about next.
What a
Pop
risk.
things open, and Youngster says thank you very much. And I realize I had support utility being thrown by the enemy team as well. This is great. Hades, HE will... ooh. He managed to back off from it in time.
Yeah, he's playing a game of dodgeball with it. Oh god, dodging bullets. It was gonna be hard for Blame. He was on elevation. Tried to escape, but he'd be hounded down. 2 for 1. Heroic will be pleased. But they could fall still into a trap. KRIMZ is holding the top side of connector. Linus will clear diligently for it, so it's a free kill. Yeah, KRIMZ had to keep jiggling, and it's a Linus double. The in-game leader strikes in. It's 3 so far from him in this round. And it will leave no chance for Jambo to pull through, especially now that his position has been revealed.
Linus has had more than his fair share of really important kills. I mean, triple's good, but no, Jambo's actually going to continue on challenging. If he dies over here, there is no op in the next round. I mean, this is objectively bad.
TYLOO also shouldn't have kept challenging. You can see him backing away, because if he gave another kill over so quickly, Jambo would go for this.
That being said, there's reason to hunt. And there's nowhere really to go for Jambo. Well, they end up not trying to pursue him down.
Terrorists win.
Alright. Could be set up for a 3 round straight here for Heroic. Thought KRIMZ was actually going to be in a really sound position to clear them out from connector, but you know, he was jiggling the top of the stairs, but as he nestled into that corner, Linus went in for the full clear where he gets just enough of a peek at him. He's basically made KRIMZ a sitting duck. It was kind of the only way back into the round, given the success Heroic struck early with. This is an aggressive move. This little movement here from KRIMZ. blameF will accompany him on a journey to clear out top middle, but the flash is good at deterring as Linus finds another opener.
That save drop not going to be looking particularly useful when it's only on the ground. Potentially 6 in a row for Heroic if they're able to capitalize on this 5 versus 4. And they've frozen. They will allow Fnatic to be the ones to make an error. It also gives Fnatic room to make a play. blameF, who's been aggressive all this time in middle, will pick up a quick kill, and Linus, who's never been able to move away from his spot, is going to be under risk of fire. Blame decides to take his attentions elsewhere. Back over to the A-bomb side they go. Incendiary usage is good to try and stop that pallet play from coming in. Linus can't get the better of KRIMZ, but on the bomb side, KRIMZ will lose his teammates, and that leaves him and Fair alive. Only just Fair now to stop this 6-round spree for Heroic. And MP9's not enough when Hades is on the other side, trained in with the sniper rifle between him and TYLOO. They have 65 kills.
Yeah, 3 rounds straight from Heroic. Once again, this T-side is delivering where there have been many deficits before. As a result of a lack of activity, Heroic struggled in regulation to pull together those T-side rounds. But here they sit with a massive advantage. one that Fnatic had themselves in an OT gone by. So they'll have 3 swings at it. They could close on their defense. I don't even know what any player says to each other in this time, what the coaches could input at this time either.
It's not
been
a
a hell of a
circumstance you're
game so
ordinarily
far.
preparing for.
Yeah. So many rounds deep.
Really just filling up that gaping void that Tenier left in this team. TYLOO has been fantastic. (21-18). Now it is Heroic's time. Defend off aggression. Just once out of 3 chances that they will be offered, and Hades, well, he's going to allow for TYLOO to be able to push forward and get the kill. Playing spot at Hades, he hadn't seen TYLOO, so he doesn't realize that that threat is two-pronged. Now these 2 players start to come back over. Smoke's not got that much time left on it, and the fair
Oh my
got a timing
God.
window for potentially 3. Hades turns around with a no-scope, and Youngster's able to keep Hades relevant. How is he already back on the side? He's a speed demon, and Heroic will find a fast way to the top 4. They will finally break Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic work from Hades. He has been electric from the start of this tournament right into those playoffs. Heroic will be happy they finally beat past a Fnatic that just would not sit down and die. They will be still into those playoffs in a top 6